Hello, Rajmohan sir. Am I audible to you?
Yes,
Hello.
yes.
Rajmohan sir, കേൾക്കാൻ പറ്റുന്നുണ്ടോ?
Hello, sir. Ma'am, shall we start, ma'am?
Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to DIKSHA Academy. I welcome you one and all to this great occasion to celebrate National Ayurveda Day. National Ayurveda Day is observed every year on Dhanvantri Jayanti since 2016. Ayurveda is perceived as one of the most ancient and well-documented system of medicine, equally relevant in modern times. Its holistic approach, whether for healthy individuals or for the diseased ones, remains unparalleled. Prevention of disease and promotion of health is the main aim of Ayurveda. Lord Dhanvantri is considered as the divine propagator of Ayurveda. He is conferred with the virtues of granting health and wealth. Therefore, Dhanvantri Jayanti was preferred for celebration of Ayurveda Day to nationalize this system of medicine, which can prove to be cornerstone for its ultimate globalization. Objectives of Ayurveda Day include an attempt to further promote Ayurveda into mainstream, focus on strength of Ayurveda and its unique treatment principles, reduce the burden of disease and related morbidity and mortality by utilizing the potentials of Ayurveda, exploring the potential of Ayurveda to contribute towards national health policy and national health programs, create a sense of awareness in today's generation, and promote Ayurvedic principles of healing in society. The celebrations would be in collaboration with the ministries and the Department of Government of India so that every of one of the nation is made awareness of this traditional system of medicine. So the Ayurveda Day celebrations are being held under the banner of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, keeping an eye on Ayurveda at 2047. As these pan-India celebrations are going, we, the DIKSHA Academy, proudly put forward the greatness of Ayurveda to the general public. As the theme of this year's Ayurveda Day is Har Din Har Ghar Ayurveda, that is Ayurveda every day, Ayurveda everywhere. Now with that, for the welcome address, I would like to invite Dr. Ankush Ji, Assistant Professor, Department of Siddhartha Ayurveda College, Coimbatore. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Sri Lakshmi. Good evening to one and all. Ayurveda, we know, is not merely to treat the ailments, but at the same time, it heals your body, mind, and soul as well. The holistic approach for these healthy individuals of the disease is truly exceptional in Ayurveda. Every year, India celebrates its National Ayurveda Day on Dhanvantari Jayanti to make every person of the nation aware of the traditional system of medicine, and it is an attempt to further promote Ayurveda into mainstream. The Ayurveda Day also focuses on reducing the burden of disease and related morbidity and mortality by utilizing the potential of Ayurveda to research the nation and to create a sense of awareness in today's generation and to promote Ayurvedic principles and its treatment modalities. A warm National Ayurveda Day wishes to all of you. On behalf of DIKSHA Academy, I do welcome all of you to AyurCon 2022. At first, I do welcome the chief guest of our conference who is going to inaugurate our event, the Honorable Governor of Goa, Advocate Sri P.S. Sridharan Pillai sir. I would also like to welcome Vaidya Rabinarayan Acharya sir, Director General of CCRA's Delhi, and the keynote address is given by Dr. Rajmohan sir. I do welcome you, sir, also. But not the least, all the participants who are here for our conference and all those eminent personalities who have been into this great evening to attend this great conference of Ayurveda. The name of DIKSHA Academy, I once again welcome all of you to this great event. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, for the inaugural address, I would like to invite Advocate Sri P.S. Sridharan Pillai sir. I would be falling short on my duties if I do not properly introduce sir to this platform. Advocate Sri P.S. Sridharan Pillai sir was born in Venmani Panchayat of Alappuzha district, Kerala, to V.G. Srukumaran Nair and Bhavani Amma. Sri Sridharan Pillai is a successful lawyer, a former politician, an organizer par excellence, an orator, a writer, a philanthropist, and a thinker. Graduating in arts from Pandalam NSS College, he was an elected office bearer in the college union. Sir, the few of the crowns in Sir's jewel is State Conveyor Loktantrik Yuva Morcha, Managing Editor Janmabhoomi Malayalam Daily, State Secretary for Kerala State BJP, President of Kerala State BJP, and 21st Governor of Mizoram. He was elected as the 22nd Governor of State of Goa on 15th July 2021. It is a great fortune to have you, sir. Due to his busy schedule, though Sir has not been able to join us personally, Sir has sent his wishes through a videograph. Now, let us go forward for the inaugural address.
Distinguished guests and my dear friends, Namaskar to all. I am extremely happy to participate in this program. I am always an admirer of Ayurvedic system, and throughout my life, I am continue my faith and commitment to Ayurveda. So Ayurveda, of course, it is based on our Vedas, and today is celebrating as the National Ayurveda Day. And of course, DIKSHA Academy's effort to conduct such a program and propagate the holy message of Ayurveda to the world is a welcome trend, and I appreciate that. And I'm congratulating the organizers of this program. Ayurveda is now considered as a proper medical system for many diseases, and except UK, USA, and few countries, the other parts of the world accepted it as an officially approved medical system. I am from Kerala, and Kerala is considered as one of the best promoting areas of Ayurveda. And from my childhood onwards, I am depending on this great medical system. Ayurveda is originated from the mouth of our traditional Vedic concept, and even the God given us this system according to our Puranas, and our Vedas are telling that. I'm very much interested in placing few words for appreciating this aspect. Recently, in Goa Raj Bhavan, we have started an Udyan. And that Udyan, last August 15th, Raj Bhavan started that. It is called, its name now put it in black and white, as Vamana Vriksha Kala Udyan. Vamana Vriksha Kala Udyan means that in our ancient texts, we were originally followed this Vamana Vriksha concept. When I had occasion to go through some articles, I found that our Vamana Vriksha Kala, it is called as a Kala. Kala means an art. This art originated from Vamana Vriksha art as a part of artistic approach. It was originated from our country. Now, it is known as Japan and China are the most important two countries. Their Vamana Vriksha concept and that art is their champions in the field of Vamana Vriksha Kala. Kala, of course, in our ancient Puranic concept and Vedic concept, Kala art, 64 forms of arts are known to us, and Vamana Vriksha Kala is also connected to that. Vamana Vriksha means we are now calling bonsai as a part of our garden and adorning our houses, we are using these bonsais. But from where this bonsai originated? It is originated from our country as a part of Ayurveda, and big trees were put in some pot, and because of that artistic way, it was grown, of course, small in size, and it was used for the purpose of Ayurveda according to various texts in our country. But through Buddhist, this spread to China and later to Japan. The term bonsai now commonly derived from, and we are also using that word from Japan. Japan and China are considered as the best exporters of this Vamana Vriksha. So, Vamana Vriksha, we will go to the details of that. We will have to peruse our text, and ample opportunity is there for exporting from our country. China's income from export on this particular field is substantial in nature. So, Goba Rajbhavan started its first Vamana Vriksha Kala Udyan when the country celebrated the 72nd birthday of our great Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji. Last year also, in front of Goa Rajbhavan, jackfruit, 71 jackfruits were slapped, in our garden. A particular garden was arranged, and slapping was put there. Within 1 year, it has grown, and there's a pakka udyan of jackfruit is we can see. Jackfruit tree also, there are, it's a Vedic vriksha, and mentioned in our Vedic history about jackfruit. So, as far as our country is concerned, our culture and tradition is concerned, we will be able to see that so many vrikshas, trees, they are adherent to nature. So this nature and people are correlated each other, and the term exploit the nature is in fact alien to this great country. So Ayurveda, UN accepted the importance of Ayurveda in principle, but certain countries, even now, especially according to my information, US and UK are yet to accept Ayurveda as a medical system. I am sure that now Ayurveda and yoga are widely spreading throughout the world, and people are coming to India for Ayurvedic treatment, and Ayurvedic concept is imbibed in the mind of the people. So the celebration by this organization, DIKSHA, doing a great service to the nation, and trained doctors are now abundantly available in this field, and we Indian people are sure about the Ayurvedic treatment and its achievements. For many diseases, Indian way of medicine itself proved us very very much beneficial and a cure is possible. And recently I had occasion to go for a function in an Ayurvedic medical college in Karnataka. And I heard from the speakers the highlights of this system of medicine. And we will try more and more. And research is also in large scale. Research is inevitable under the present circumstance. It is very easy for Ayurveda to compete with any system of medicine, including modern medicine. And I hope this day celebration will give more strength for this system. And I'm congratulating once again the organizers of this function and wish you all the best. And I declare that this program is inaugurated through online. And thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for those really electrifying words. You have really energized us, and we are looking forward to the program AyurCon 2022. Now, I once again welcome Dr. Ankur sir to welcome Dr. Vaidya Rabinarayan Acharya sir for the presidential address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Sri Lakshmi, once again. Vaidya Rabinarayan Acharya sir, welcome you, sir, to our AyurCon 2022. Before handling you the mic, I would like to introduce a few words about you, sir. Sir completed his UG from Utkal University, Bhubaneswar, Odisha, and did his PG and PhD in the Department of Dravyaguna from Gujarat Ayurveda University, Jamnagar. Sir worked as a Dean, HOD, and Professor in the Department of Dravyaguna at Jamnagar. Has also worked as a course supervisor and for almost 103 research projects. Sir is also the co-author of 3 books on poisonous drugs, and Sir has contributed 4 books on minology. He has published over 321 research articles in various peer-reviewed journals and presented papers in various national and international seminars and webinars. Sir has been awarded with Ayush Award of CCRAs in the year 2017, the Best Teacher Award for his valuable contribution in the field of academics, and many more prestigious awards. He also served as the chairman of Ayurveda Pharmacopoeia Board, Ministry of Ayurveda, and member of Project Screening Committee in NMPP, Ministry of Ayush. Who was a subject expert and editor of various international journals as well. Now, Sir is working as the Director General of Central Council for Research in Ayurvedic Sciences under the Ministry of Ayush, Government of India. I duly welcome you for the presidential address. Sir, please.
Namaste to all. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're
My deep regards to Honorable Governor of Goa, Sri Sridharan Pillai sir, Raja Mohan ji, Dr. Tulya Mohan ji, and Professor Ramakant Yadav from All India Institute of Ayurveda, Dr. Jitesh M from Kottakal Ayurveda College, and the members of DIKSHA family and dear participants of this webinar. At the outset, I thank DIKSHA family for inviting me for this occasion to be a part of 27th Ayurveda Day celebration. Dear friends, Ayurveda Day celebrations started, though since only 7 years in an official way, but Lord Dhanvantari Pujan is being celebrated by the Ayurveda fraternity since its time immemorial, and when the Ayurveda comes to the world itself. Dear friends, as our Honorable Governor Sir told about the ways how people should adopt Ayurveda and how Ayurveda is going to be popularized and what steps each government is taking at Goa and government of India is taking. So for this purpose, dear friends, this year, this is the leadership or the present central leadership under our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. The government has decided to celebrate the 7th Ayurveda Day in a national way with Sahbhagita of all other ministries. Just like previously, we have International Yoga Day. Till now, Ayurveda, which is being celebrated by the group of ministries and being patronized by Government of India. So now, in this year, government has decided to celebrate Ayurveda Day with different ministries, and 21 ministries of Government of India are involved in celebrating Ayurveda Day this year. And the theme of Ayurveda Day is Har Din Har Ghar Ayurveda. That is the commitment of the government to reach Ayurveda at every doorstep. Dear friends, we the lovers of Ayurveda and we being a citizen of the country, we know that people accept those things which is presentable to them in a scientific way, and the people believe the work, believe the science, then the acceptability increases. In this way, the present theme of this Har Ghar Har Din Ayurveda is related to the scientificity of Ayurveda. Another theme of this Ayurveda Day celebrations is our commitment to reach the public, reach the mass with scientificity. No doubt, Ayurveda, the oldest science of the world, medical science of the world, it has its own fundamental principles, and it is sustained. It is sustained thousands of years. The whatever written in Charak Samhita 5,000 years back, it is as it is evident as in today. The properties of the medicinal plant, the indications, the contraindications, everything is written in our science. It's validated, and it is being written after thorough experimentation, repeated experimentations, then only the Samhitas were written. Dear friends, we the Ayurveda fraternity know these type of things in our own word. As we know our fundamentals, our dosha, dhatu, mala, everything, we make the science understood ourselves, and we apply the medicines to the public in that way also. But the science is always a progressive. Science is supposed to be progressive, and changes, we have to accommodate the changes, and we have to make the people understand in their language. As the era of globalization, at what our Honorable Prime Minister used to tell, that Vishwa Darbar mein Ayurved ko pahunchana hai. In that way, we have to make our science in a evidence-based manner, and we have to present that before the public in that way, so that the other people, other part of the world, and not only the other part of the world, but also the people of India can accept the science in a better way. We are blamed always time that our science is not evidence-based, our science is not practical, our drugs are not safe, our many things are come in the way when this type of when we observe the different observations from our different fraternity. It may be a science fraternity or it may be a public research. So in this coming years to come, there is a huge task for us. Government of India the present government of India has taken a huge step, and they have increased the budget like anything. The present budget at 3,050 crores of rupees of budget they have allocated this financial year of 21-22, which is very high. And dear friends, the Ayurveda fraternity has proved our position during the COVID-19 period. And we have proved that yes, Ayurveda in particular and Ayush in general has role to mitigate different disease conditions and acute management of certain disease, particularly the COVID-19. We many of our formulations were well appreciated, and the public demand was so high that our drugs, the rate, drug market of Ayush drugs, Ayush product are increased 17% in the last 3 to 4 years. So there is no doubt there is a huge market. At the same time, we have a huge task also to present. There are so many hurdles of Ayurveda things. There are so many hurdles that we have getting a quality drug, getting the employment of those who are being passed out for their employment. All these things are there. That is because everywhere, every situation, we must come across these types of things. But we have to work hard for scientificity of Ayurveda, and particularly the availability of raw drugs. We have to the organizations dedicated, particularly the National Medicinal Plant Board, has come up with many schemes. Now I will share some of the informations how different stakeholders of our country, how can they utilize the Government of India schemes. So there is a scheme for National Medicinal Plant Board for cultivations and propagations of the medicinal plant, for establishing herbal gardens, and for doing researches on medicinal plants. These informations can be can be available from the official website of the National Medicinal Plant Board. Ministry of Ayush is coming up with extramural research projects. So the scientists, the researchers, those who are working in Ayurveda sector and also non-Ayurveda sectors, they can avail these schemes also. Dear friends, the Government of India is also taking step for the pharmacopoeial standardizations of the drug. The Ayurvedic Pharmacopoeia of India, previously, now all the Pharmacopoeia Committee has been merged, and Government of India is one herb, one standard policy Government of India has taken, and all the herbs, the ashwagandha, guduchi, the drug which is being used by Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, other pathogens also. So one herb, one drug standard, one standard scheme is also being implemented. Now Ministry taking at that time, and particularly under the National Ayush Mission, Government of India is taking a large scale activities, and near about 104 hospitals, 50 up to 50 bedded hospitals are being in pipeline, or somewhere it has been established across the country. And last month, I was in Goa. Last week, I was in Goa, and CCRS is coming up with a new center in November 2nd week. A new center of Ayush Clinic, a research center will be opened in Goa, and but All India Institute of Ayurveda is also going to be opened at Goa, and there are 34 wellness centers in particular in the state of Goa under National Ayush Mission. So what I mean to say here is that there are many schemes under National Ayush Missions where the public are will be benefited through this Government of India schemes, and particularly the globalizations of the present government, the steps taken by the present government from globalization and attract the other part of the world towards Ayurveda is a huge step, a bold step taken by our Honorable Prime Minister at the Global Center of Traditional Medicines, establishing Global Center of Traditional Medicine at Jamnagar. This is the only UN center being established in any developing country, because before that all the UN centers are in developed countries only, and for the first time that a UN center, that is WHO GCTM, WHO Collaboration Center for Global Center for Traditional Medicines, is already established in April 19th at Jamnagar in the Gujarat state of India. So there are near about 123 countries, not 109 something countries will come to Jamnagar to do research on traditional medicines at Jamnagar. So dear friends, there is a huge scope in this aspect. Being a research organization at Central Council of Research in Ayurvedic Sciences, I am here to inform you, dear friends, that we have come up with a plan for the research activities of the students of BM undergraduate students this year, and that is known as the program Spark. Many colleges have applied, and we are planning to have research projects for the post-graduation scholars, and we have already research projects for the PhD scholars, postdoc scholars, and we are planning for research projects exclusively for the teachers of Ayurveda. It may be Ayurveda, government or private sector, that will have some research project, collaborative research projects with the different colleges at all over the India. Dear friends, and we are having collaborative research recently. Many other organizations are where we are working. Just as like we are working with AIIMS New Delhi, we are working with AIIMS Bhubaneswar, we are working with IIT Delhi and IIT, other IITs. We are working with Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, to prove our drug to have because new disease indicates new indications and new drug formulations, and to have particularly the mechanistic study to make the people understand that how our drugs act is a challenge, and to take that we have carried out that study. And for the safety studies, we are working with many particularly CDRI organizations, CSIR organizations, CDRI Lucknow, CDRI IITR Lucknow, and NBRI Lucknow. We are working with those organizations, and even if Tata Memorial Cancer Research, where we are working. So these are the areas where Ayurveda is strong. Government of India is working day and night, and I again thank the DIKSHA, the organizations which very much dedicatedly working for the propagations of Ayurveda among the mass. I again thank the organizer for giving me the opportunity, and thank all the participants for patient for listening. Thank you. Thank you. Over to Rajmohan ji.
Thank you. Thank you, sir, for those great words. Surely we will look upon to the words that you have told. And now I'm inviting Dr. Rajmohan sir for the keynote address. Before moving to sir, I would like to give a brief introduction of Rajmohan sir. Dr. Rajmohan V has completed his Bachelor of Ayurvedic Medicine and Surgery and Doctor of Medicine in Ayurveda, Government Ayurveda College, Thiruvananthapuram. He was a medical officer at the Department of Indian System of Medicine and Research Officer at the Standardization Unit under the Directorate of Ayurveda Medical Education, Government of Kerala. His teaching career started at Vaidyaratnam P.S. Vaidya Ayurveda College, Kottakkal, and subsequently to Government Ayurveda College, Trivandrum, and Government Ayurveda College, Kannur. Presently, he is Associate Professor of Rasashastra and Bhaishya Kalpana at Government Ayurveda College, Trivandrum. Dr. Rajmohan V was the Technical Committee member of School of Ayurveda and the School of Health Policy and Planning of Ayurveda, Kerala University of Health Sciences. He was the member of Travancore Cochin Medical Council. He is an invited faculty to the UGC Human Resource Development Center, University of Calicut, Kerala. Sir is the coordinator of the task force constituted by the Kerala government for utilizing Ayurveda in the prevention, mitigation, and rehabilitation of COVID-19 in Kerala. He is also the state coordinator of the State Ayurveda COVID-19 Response Department of Ayush, Government of Kerala, and the nodal officer of Kerala for COVID-19 activities to the Department of Ayush. Dr. Rajmohan V is currently designated as the Special Officer of the International Research Institute of Ayurveda developing under the Government of Kerala. Sir was invited as a faculty to the Ayurveda Day of 2020 celebrations in Philippines, organized by Indian missions. And he also visited many countries like Japan and Korea with the state head and contributed a lot more things to the Ayurveda. So was instrumental in designing Ayurveda Dasa, AyurRaksha clinics and different Ayurveda programs in this COVID-19 pandemic in Kerala, which later provided to be a glorious success of Ayurvedic public health activities ever in the state. He has represented Ayurveda in the transdisciplinary conferences jointly organized by St. Xavier's College, Mumbai and University of United States of America in 2019. Sir has been a resource person to numerous international and national seminars and conferences since 2007. And he has many publications to his credit too. He is a winner of SKM Research Scholar Award for his outstanding contribution to the research methodologies in Ayurveda. He is a teacher, clinician, and researcher focusing in Rasayana, aging, cancer, and Ayurvedic drug validation. Sir, please.
Thank you so much. I think that was pretty long introduction. Honorable Governor of Goa, Sridharanpilla sir, and Ravi Narayana Acharya sir, an academician, a clinician, and a very good administrator, currently occupying the wonderful position at CCRIS, and all the DIKSHA team and all the dignitaries assembled here. My pronouns. It's a very wonderful day. Ayurveda Day celebrations, National Ayurveda Day celebrations. Hope I am audible because I am in my college. We are having a big Ayurveda Day celebration programs going on. We are having an exhibition that is showcasing various aspects of Ayurveda for the public here. So there is a huge response from the public in Trivandrum. So it has been there for the past 2 days, and today it will wind up now. So it's nearing the validatory function. So probably I'm even from my office, the sound is very quick. So apologies for that. I must be here for these functions. That's right. So I would like to continue from where Ravi Narayana Acharya sir has stopped. Actually, sir was talking regarding the evidence-based Ayurveda. As we all know that from the past decade, the need of evidence-based medicine has been raised throughout the world. And what is that? What is actually this evidence-based medicine? Evidence-based medicine is nothing but the dissemination of bedside findings, that laboratory findings has to be disseminated into the bedside. That is, the patient care must, whatever modalities we are utilizing for, whatever treatments we are utilizing for, whatever interventions we are utilizing for the benefit of the patient should definitely come from high quality data. So that is basically the evidence-based, the definition of evidence-based medicine. And it should not be anecdotal. It should not be some sort of experience-based. So that is the basic definition of evidence-based medicine. So while when we come to Ayurveda largely based on rather than evidence-based medicine, it is practice-based evidence we are trying to create. So as it is individualized, that it is highly personalized, you know that the modalities, the mechanisms that we usually use to validate the modern medicine practices, that may not be that as much as possible in Ayurvedic validation, Ayurvedic treatment validation also. So actually the evidence-based medicine, and we are having a personalized medicine. What is the advantage of personalized medicine? You might heard about the adverse drug reactions. When a particular medicine is given to a group of patients who are having the same disease, definitely it is going to create certain adverse drug reactions depending upon the genomic profile of a particular individual. So the pharmacogenomics and advanced science, now we are developing science, they are telling that a medicine should be administered based on the individual, by considering the individual genome of a person or a phenome of a person. The phenome is nothing but the prakriti. So that prakriti concept, we can see that by a lot of programs now they are in place by combining Prakriti with the genomic aspects, and particularly its application is moving towards pharmacodynamics and pharmacogenomic aspects. The Prakriti genomic aspects and Ayurvedic biology, it is the propounder is none other than our Vallithan, MS Vallithan sir, and a huge funding is offered by DBT and DST also. So this evidence-based and individualized medicine, both these two, actually it is quite difficult to convert and individualized practices into evidence-based, because the heterogeneity in selecting a population for study is actually very difficult when it comes to a Prakriti-based or an individualized medicine. So the future medicine is definitely that should be individualized as well as evidence-based. So when we move towards this individualized and evidence-based, definitely we can contribute. Ayurveda can contribute a lot in its fundamental aspects by taking the Prakriti concept, elaborating the Prakriti concept into pharmacogenomics and pharmacodynamic aspects. But when it comes to Ayurvedic practices, when we talk about Har Din Har Khar Ayurveda, definitely it's a very beautiful slogan to keep on. It's a very beautiful vision we have in our mind. Since the various governments, particularly in Kerala government as well as the central government, now is promoting Ayurveda, and Ayurveda is the traditional system of medicine, and we really need to, the government is trying to integrate Ayurvedic practices and Ayurvedic principles in the public health aspect. And when we talk about mainstreaming Ayurveda into public health streams, it is not that much easy. Why? Because when there is, now we are well aware that what COVID pandemic has done to our society, to our community. When the pandemic hit our society, and when Ayurvedic practitioners are ready to manage it, but it was quite difficult to convince to the administrators, convince to the scientific persons, or convince to the public health faculties how these Ayurvedic medicines can work in such a pandemic which is having a devastating effect on the people world over. So that kind of evidence that was necessary for integrating Ayurvedic practices in a situation wherein a pandemic was hit in countries was not available at that time when we were with Ayurvedic management against COVID. So even when there were so many instances where Ayurveda were effectively tried, like in chikungunya and dengue fever in Kerala, a considerable proportion of the population were utilizing Ayurveda for chikungunya and dengue and all those things, and of course for preventive and curative and post viral infections, Ayurvedic medicines were effectively used in Kerala also. But unfortunately, the documentation that we have undertaken at that time was not sufficient or not proper. We couldn't generate any proper publications in that aspect. So that happened throughout the country, so that when a pandemic hit, when some evidence is definitely necessary for us to thrive, for us to mainstream our medicines and practices in disasters like this, that necessary evidence was absent in our system. So we always need, if we really need to push Ayurveda, Har Khar Ayurveda means we are well integrated into the public health mechanism. So we need to think how Ayurvedic practices can integrate into the common public health programs. While if you really need to integrate that, definitely a lot more evidence are required. What we can do is we have to generate evidences from our practices by reporting case reports, case series, and conducting clinical trials. And equally important is that mechanistic studies, by using genomic tools and all, proper bedside evidences, as well as pharmacological evidences, biochemical evidences, genomic evidences, and mechanism and metabolomic from evidences from metabolomics and several other omic sciences are all necessary that could help us to move towards further higher methodologies like clinical trials and randomized clinical trials and all those things. So I think that at least for the next 2 decades, Ayurveda must focus much on community-based researches as well as bedside researches equally, so that the evidence generated should be sufficient enough for us to integrate our science to the existing public health modality and mainstream our science. See, in Kerala, we have a good mechanism. We placed a good mechanism while in the middle of that COVID pandemic. Right from the beginning, the government of Kerala was enthusiastic to adopt Ayurvedic practices in prevention. Initially, it was in preventing the COVID pandemic. And we have a program known as Amrutam and Swastham. Amrutam was for quarantined individuals, and Swastham was for perfectly not an individual who are exposed to any viral, any COVID individuals. So it was for general population who are not so far exposed to the COVID virus. So that Amrutam, we have collected a good data. We had collected around 1 lakh population, or 1 lakh population data collected from around 1 lakh population across the state, and we have published a very good paper in the Frontiers in Public Health, and that seems to be one of the initial publications in COVID, which definitely showing that how a participatory model, that we have adopted a peculiar model in which we integrated Ayurvedic treatment, Ayurvedic system with the LSC bodies, and we took a lot of population support, people support, and societal participation. This societal participation actually improved the reach and penetration of Ayurvedic modalities. Actually, earlier it was up to 10% of the population was utilizing Ayurveda for any primary healthcare needs. Even when we are now adopted, we announced certain particular project like Janani Suraksha, it is for protection of the mother. The people attracted to this, the targeted population attracted to this particular program was less than 10%. But the quarantine care, that Amrutam program, we could see that the mean utilization of Ayurveda in quarantine among the quarantine population was over 25%. And in some states, or in some part of the state, some districts, wherein the private-public participation was very luminescent, or private-public participation was very effective, wherein the Ayurvedic Medical Association of India, along with the private practitioners, joined hand with the government machinery, along with the LSG bodies, and all those districts, this utilization of Ayurveda, penetration and reach was very high, mounting up to 60%. And for all other later, based on this particular data, government sanctioned Ayurvedic treatment for COVID-19, and later extended to even category and category B patients. And for the convalescent care also, the post-COVID care also, Ayurveda done a very beautiful here. The first ever symptom mapping was done from Ayurvedic side and submitted to Kerala government. What are the symptoms persist in post-COVID care? So at that time, Ayurveda was only providing post-COVID care in Kerala. So that whatever we have done in Kerala, actually we documented it well, and we have documented and we have submitted submitted as various reports to government. And even we proudly can say that more than 3,000 pages of reports are available with the government, and it is there in the assembly documents, it is there in the governor's chamber, it is there in all the possible government mechanisms. All these data are available, and still the state Ayurveda COVID-19 response cell, regional Ayurveda COVID-19 response cells, and the district Ayurveda COVID-19 response cell, and at the grassroots level, AyurCon clinics are still functioning. And even if another pandemic or another epidemic, a disaster comes in the future, hopefully, I pray for nothing would happen like that. But still, if it comes, definitely we are having a mechanism in place now, and we have sufficient documentation to initiate a thorough activity right from the beginning. While I'm talking about epidemiological aspects, we also need to have pharmacological studies. We also need to have in vitro and in vivo experimentations on our Ayurvedic drugs and disease aspects and all those things, development of diagnostic aspects, and on our fundamental studies and translation researches are also necessary, and it should go hand in hand with epidemiological and community-based studies and clinical trials and all those things. So the government of Kerala is actually planning a very good institute, a very vast institute at Kannur districts of Kerala. It is known as International Research Institute of Ayurveda. The first phase is coming around the middle of next year, and the temporary office is about to begin. So this particular institute is focusing on transdisciplinary researches in Ayurveda, focusing on certain specific areas like aging and cancer. We know that aging and cancer play a major role in disease, majority of the disease pathology. So these kinds of institute that can really explain the principles of Ayurveda in a scientific way. And we must really need to generate a quality data, and we will be able to publish that in internationally accepted peer-reviewed journals, so that our evidence base of Ayurveda need to be developed further, so that the integration of Ayurveda with the existing public health mechanism will be smooth enough, so that there should not be any confusion why you are integrating Ayurveda to this public health modality without any evidence. If we have sufficient evidence, no one can even deny that smooth integration. So for that, I think Ayurvedic faculty, we need to work together. All the institutions, we need to work together. We need to integrate our system with the existing scientific modalities. We need help from the genomic people, nanotechnology people, biochemists, and all those scientific persons. We need to integrate our science. Of course, we have the this ancient wisdom in our hand. We need to develop it further so that it can be utilized by population world over. So I think the vision this year we are holding is a very vast one, a very prominent one. Har Din Har Khar Ayurveda, different age groups we need to address. Nowadays, we know that a particular age group, the majority of who are reaching Ayurvedic treatment is over 50 years of age. Majority of them are. So apart from that, all specialties of Ayurveda must have a definite role in managing public health, and that should be integrated with the existing modality of existing public health modalities and mechanisms. So with this, I would like to conclude my speech, and I would like to express my thanks to the DIKSHA team for inviting me as a keynote speaker, and my colleagues are all here. I wish everyone a good this Ayurvedic day and an Ayurvedic year ahead. So we need to be the propagator. We need not only the educators. We need to be the propagators and of our science also. So let us hope that this vision, that is Har Din Har Khar Ayurveda, will definitely be fruitful in the next decade itself. So for that, we need to work hard. So I request all the students to learn well and put their efforts on various types of researches that are possible in the Ayurvedic fraternity. So once again, I thank the organizers. Thank you so much. Let this day bring light to our science. Let bring light to all the ailing populations across the globe. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for those inspiring words. And now, for the vote of thanks, I would like to invite Dr. Tulya Mohandas, Vice Principal, Ayurveda College, Coimbatore. Over to you, ma'am.
A beautiful evening to all. Thanksgiving is a time of togetherness and gratitude. With this beautiful quote, it's time for me to convey my gratitude to all the eminent personalities who are present in today's inaugural session. First of all, I convey my gratitude to our Honorable Governor of Goa, P.S. Sridharan Pillai sir, for giving his valuable time for us. Thank you, sir. I convey my heartfelt thanks to Director General of CCRAS, Ministry of Ayush, Vaidya Ravinarayanan Acharya sir, for blessing this occasion. Thank you so much, sir. My special thanks to Dr. Rajmohan sir for his valuable presence and for motivating everyone. Thank you, sir. I'm obliged to our speakers of today's session, Dr. Ramakant Yadav, Associate Professor in Department of Kaya Chikitsa, AIIA, and Dr. Jitesh, Professor and HOD of Kaya Chikitsa, PPSV Ayurveda College, Kottakkal, to accept our invitation. Thank you to both the sirs. I'm thankful to all the participants who are gathered here. I'm always thankful to DIKSHA for providing such a platform to create an awareness about Ayurveda and reform Ayurveda by all the eminent doctors globally. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, ma'am, for the short and sweet words.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, for the most awaited session, we have Dr. Ramakant Yadav sir with us for the first session of today's evening to discuss here with us on the topic metabolic syndrome and Ayurvedic perspective. Let me take the great privilege of introducing sir to this platform. Dr. Ramakant Yadav sir, currently working as Associate Professor and Head of Department of Kaya Chikitsa at AIA New Delhi. Sir completed his BA MS from Lucknow University and MD from BHU Varanasi. Sir also holds a PhD in the subject of Kaya Chikitsa. Sir has a diploma in yoga from 1996 from BHU. Sir has over total years of working experience all the way from dating back to 1997. Sir has been awarded the National Scholarship for securing honors in high school, first class degree in and best model teacher by All India Sharir Research Institute, Lucknow. Ayurveda Seva Saman, All India Ayurvedic Specialist, PG Association, Delhi. Ayurveda Shodha Vibhuti, All India Ayurvedic Specialist, PG Association, and various other awards. Participation in seminar and national seminars about 78, and participation in seminar as a resource person for about 22 seminars. Sir has conducted and been a participation for various CME programs. Sir has working capacity in the HOD Department of Kaya Chikitsa at All India Institute of Ayurveda, New Delhi. He is also the examiner at various universities in Kaya Chikitsa and allied subjects, including BHU, Lucknow, SS University, Varanasi, Uttarakhand, Kanpur, Indore, etc. He is also the in-charge head of Department of Panchakarma and experience of working as a hospital superintendent in charge, holding key positions in various college and hospital committees. He is a life member of All India Institute of Specialists PG Association, Delhi, and life member of Vishwa Ayurveda Parishad. He is also a honorary member of Ukrainian Association of Ayurveda, Kiev, Ukraine. It is a great fortune to have you, sir, with us. Now, before handing over the session, I would like to go through a few of the basic instructions to be followed throughout the session. For an uninterrupted class session, use a laptop with high-speed internet connection. Please make sure your microphone is on mute to have a disturbance-free session. And in case of any disruption, please check your internet connection first. And if the problem is within our network connection, kindly raise the issue in the chat box. Filling your full name to be displayed is appreciated. Participants can ask their questions of the faculties by posting the question in the chat box. Questions raised in the chat box will be addressed at the end of the session. Now, without any further delay, let me hand over the session to sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Doctor. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
Thanks a lot. And namaskar to all. Respected Honorable Governor of Goa, Advocate Pillai, sir. Respected Director General CCRS, Dr. Acharya, sir. Dr. Ram Mohan ji, and all the dignitaries who have joined this platform for today. At the outset, I would like to extend my heartfelt wishes to all the Ayurveda fraternity on this platform regarding the 7th International Day of Celebration of 7th National Day of Ayurveda. And today it was a busy schedule. I have just came back from from the Vigyan Bhavan, where the main function was held, and various dignitaries from India and abroad attended the same function. So that is a huge success with the full of the audiences. With this notion, let me share my screen because I am to talk on the metabolic disorders especially. So let me share my screen. Yes. Whether the slides are visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, it's moving now.
Ha, sir, it's moving, sir.
Then with this positive note, wishing health for everyone. And the main the topic which I am going to share with you all is very important topic nowadays, because in our OPDs and in our clinics we are facing such type of problems, and the problem is increasing day by day. That is metabolic syndrome, and I will talk about an Ayurveda perspective. Definitely, what is metabolism? Everybody has studied during their schools. It refers to all chemical reactions taking place in body to convert or use energy. The workers are enzymes and other proteins or hormones that makes chemical reactions. And in Ayurveda, concluded under Agni. So I think what we have studied during our schools, and if we relate all these things, all the knowledge from school to the Ayurvedic literature, definitely we find Agni as a main or the key component regarding the metabolism. The few major examples are breaking down of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats in food to release energy, transforming excess nitrogen into waste products excreted in urine, and breaking down of or converting chemicals into other substances and transporting them inside cells. So these are the main components of enzymatic activities which are taking place inside our body. What is a metabolic syndrome? When you see that nowadays what happens, the picture is self-explanatory, and you will see that the person who is suffering from like conditions like high blood pressure, high blood glucose, high lipid profile, large waist size, and low HDL levels. These are the features which are commonly found in any metabolic syndrome like condition. So coming with this understanding, definitely metabolic disorder occurs when no abnormal chemical reaction in our body disrupts this process. You know that there is a normal pattern of every activity in our body that makes equilibrium, or the prakriti is sustained, and our body keeps on getting healthy. But if that relation changes or that equilibrium disturbs, then a lot of different kind of diseases may happen to the human body. Agni has the main role of conversion of substances and chemical reaction on food chemicals and waste product. It converts energy and other substances. This is all self-explanatory, and every Ayurveda person knows about the functions of Agni. So ultimately, the conditions, if this Agni Vyapar is hampered, or you can say somehow there is a hindrance, then that will develop into lot of conditions like diabetes, hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism, or obesity. Many conditions can come into the. I will not go to the details of any particular medical condition, but I have just mentioned here because diabetes mellitus is among the top metabolic disorders of our country, not all in our country, as well as in all the parts of globe. This condition exists like anything, and what not, every organ is being affected by this, whether it is eyes, whether it is heart, whether it is kidney, whether it is liver. Name a organ that will be affected by the complications of diabetes if it remains uncontrolled. So that is the nature of such a metabolic disorder. Definitely it needs care. A lot of care is needed, because around 1 of the 14% may be diabetic. In our countries also, the statistics may be very high in coming condition. They are two times more prone for acute MI, and 5 times more prone to gangrene, and 2 to 6 times more prone to strokes. 17 times more prone to kidney damage, and 25 times more prone to blindness. So such a kind of you can say complications which can give or which can uh, originate from this diabetic condition. On the treatment part, definitely there is. I will not go in detail. Let me. Yes, definitely. Physical signs. There are signs related to Mutra. Purvrup are there. Cardinal signs are there. Purvrup like Swedadik, Shithilangita. These are Madhureta. These are the conditions. Sweetness of mouth, or you can say there is a lot of uh, substances which are in the mouth and may also originate conditions like bad odor from the mouth, and you can say a kind of stickiness in the mouth. Such type of condition may occur in during the poor group of Prameh. Two types of Pramehi are described basically. One is Sthul Pramehi and one is Kas Pramehi. Yes, it has written in the books, and we have standardized in our monograph. This I mentioned here because we have published a monograph on the management of diabetes, and in which we have taken the Sthul Pramehi, the having BMI more than 25, and we have considered Krish Pramehi having a BMI less than 18. So one is condition is more related to, you can say, Shlesham Pradhan, and another one condition that is related to Vayu Pradhanta. Definitely, most of the disease, not only the Prameh, but most of the diseases which definitely needs Nidan Parivarjan. Nidan Parivarjan means you have to avoid sedentary lifestyle, you have to exercise excessive lack of exercise is responsible for that. You have to avoid that. Excessive sleeping in the daytime, that is also to be avoided. Excessive consumption of sweet, cold, and substances and oily substances, that has to be avoided. Such type of things, if we are going to manage, then this complications as well as the management becomes easy for the any condition, not only in diabetes. Definitely, this is a diet chart. I will not go into the detail of this. And modification of the dincharya, definitely modification needs. If we keep our modern lifestyle according to season, according to ritu, then according to day, according to night, then only we can manage effectively such type of lifestyle disorder. Patient education and awareness is also very important regarding this condition, and there are certain treatment of principles regarding the diabetes condition or Prameh condition. I will discuss in later conditions. They are divided into two, that is obese or stool category, and Krish, that is non-obese category, and they are managed accordingly with the substances according to the stool and Krish. Coming to the main topic of the today, that is the shape of things to come. That is the evolution of metabolic syndrome. You can say like this. And what is you are seeing in the last picture, and the person is holding a cold drink glass in his hands and having a disproportionate of body. So such type of things may happen in a metabolic syndrome, and the prevalence increases with the age. Greater industrialization and urbanization is one of the major factors which is responsible for this. Increase in waist circumference is found predominantly in women, and fasting triglyceride is more than 150 gram per dl, and hypertension more likely in men. This is a resultant of you can say metabolic syndrome like condition. Obesity not defined by weight, says new Canada guidelines. Definitely, obesity should be defined by a person's health, not just their weight, says a new Canadian guidelines. Definitely, that depends on the just before this lecture in this keynote address, Dr. Ramanohan has mentioned about the Prakriti. So Prakriti parameters for every individual may be different from other. So that is a most important thing. And I think a person of 90 kg of weight may not have any derangement in their lipid profile, and a person who is about 55 or 56 kgs in weight might be having a lot of you can say imbalances in his lipid profile or sugar. So that condition may also happen. So it is important to take in consideration the Canadian guidelines. What are the risk factors for this metabolic syndrome like condition? That is overweight or central obesity, basically sedentary lifestyle, and associated with central obesity there should be triglyceride levels, high triglyceride level, SDL, and high blood pressure and glucose intolerance. Aging prevalence increases with the age. The aging is one of the major factors because there are certain conditions which you can say by nature they come to our body, like hypertension. It's more or less related to aging, like diabetes mellitus. That is also a condition that is mostly related to age also, because if a person gets obese, then there are a lot of chances of having different kind of conditions and disorders. And other risk factors like diabetes mellitus, coronary artery disease. About 1/3 of MS patients have premature coronary artery disease. And lipodystrophy, both genetic or acquired, have severe insulin resistance. So such type of symptoms are definitely found as a risk factor in any kind of metabolic syndrome. What is you can say what I have just narrated the words lipotrophy. You can say increased waist circumference. You can say, and acanthosis nigricans or skin tags. These are also clinical features of any metabolic syndrome. Coming further, what is metabolic syndrome? That is definitely collectively you can say that visceral obesity should be there, insulin resistance should be there, hypertension may be there, high triglyceride level should be there, and low HDL cholesterol level. All this together makes a condition that is known as metabolic syndrome. Constellation of metabolic abnormalities that confer increased risk of cardiovascular disease and diabetes mellitus. These are the features of metabolic syndrome. Definitely, this is the you can say what is the risk factor, International Diabetes Federation criteria, and more than 90 centimeters of waist size in men and more than 80 centimeters in female. And similarly, triglyceride level 150 and HDL level less than 50, blood pressure more than 130/85, fasting blood glucose more than 100. Diagnosis established when more than 3 of these risk factors are present, and abdominal obesity is more highly correlated with metabolic risk factor than his BMI. So we have to keep always check on our waist size of body. This is the criteria for this diabetes International Diabetes Federation criteria for body to avoid the metabolic syndrome like conditions. In Europeans, waist size about 94 centimeters. In South Asians, 90 centimeters, and in the 80 centimeters in ladies. In China, it's 90 and 80. In Japan, it's 90 and 80. So these are the main. If it is always better to keep our waist size below the 90 centimeters. And many conditions do cause, you can say, they are associated for the metabolic syndrome, like genetic factors or fetal programming, excessive dietary intake, lack of exercise, So that will cause insulin resistance, visceral obesity, HbA axis dysregulation, atherosclerotic dyslipidemia, and ultimately all that mechanism will lead to metabolic syndrome. According to Ayurveda, if we go, then metabolic syndrome, according to Ayurveda, may be Santarpad Janna Vikaras, disease due to overnutrition and defective tissue metabolism. So this may be understood as a cause of metabolic syndrome, and disturbances in production of medo dhatu or lipids. Prime of them are medo dhatwagni or lipid metabolic process. So inability of you can say medo dhatwagni or malfunctioning of medo dhatwagni may be a major culprit. Along with that, the Jatragni, which is the main Agni that causes the simplification of articles, food articles, which we take, that if that is also at fault, that may be later on, all the Agnis may not be working in coherence. If go by this, as Acharya Charak has mainly said, that it is not necessary to name any disease always. It is most important to identify the samprapti ghatak or the dosh dosha sammurchana. You have to identify that, and you have to manage the disease accordingly. Then coming to the brief, you can say like dosh, that kapvat may be the prominent dosh. Agni or digestive fire, that may be a Dhatwagni Mandata there, and the visceral adipose tissue that is at fault, and srotas, channels of circulation like rasvaha, raktavaha, mansvaha, medova, srotas. These are the conditions which can correlate or form a pathology of metabolic syndrome. Am I audible, everyone?
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
Thanks. Again, Udbhav Sthana, that is disease origin, that is a Amashayot Vyadhi, definitely. It may be considered as Amashayot Vyadhi. Sancharasthan, that is site of manifestation, that is Sarv Sharir by Ras and Raktva Srotas, that is a factor of. And Vyaktasthan, Udar, Sphic, Stan, Gal, Pradesh. These are the sites where that is, you can say, is showing on our body. And what Swabhav, the nature of disease, may be considered as Chirkari, and Sadhya Sadhyata, Kricha Sadhya, you can say, if proper diagnosis is not maintained and proper lifestyle and diet is not maintained, then this condition will remain worse. Further, coming to the Ayurvedic concept of metabolic syndrome like condition, maybe like if we are going to eat different kinds of heavy food items which are really difficult to digest, and that will generate a kind of condition that will be arm-like conditions, and that we can also consider is as toxins or metabolic toxins, ultimately will cause srotodushti and amashay. You can say in amashay, if there is not proper digestion, or that will cause a kind of deposition in different part of body, and ultimately even in the blood vessels also, such type of arm you can say that will be deposited, and will ultimately give rise to different kind of conditions related to obesity and hyperlipidemia. So what kind of food? That is snigdha or oily heavy food, and madhyapan, alcohol intake, and atiyashan, overeating, that is a very important. Other and avyayam, if you are having very sedentary lifestyle, then that will the worse the condition further. If we consider metabolic syndrome as per Ayurveda, then in stage 1 there will be mild increase in waist circumference in pre-diabetics, pre-hypertension, and pre-dyslipidemia, and that is ultimately medova sroto dushti may be there, impaired lipid metabolism there. Ati sthul lakshan will start coming in our body, and prameha purrup as a pre-diabetic, that may appear in the earlier part of the metabolic syndrome. And coming to the stage 2 obese patients having fully developed diabetes and hypertension, plus mild to moderate dyslipidemia, and Satarpan and Avranjanya Madhumeh may be, you can say, come to the existence. In the third stage, you may say that obese patients having early changes of coronary artery disease and complications of diabetes and hypertension, and Upadrav of Madhumeh or Sthol and Avran. These are prominent in our body. So such type of features we can correlate. And coming to the integrated approach in the management, like Nidan Parivarjanam, the root cause elimination, OJAS promoting immunity enhancer drugs, yoga hai, meditative exercise, role of Panchkarma. These are the collective measures, not only by only one thing, but with the collective measure, we can take on this metabolic disorder like condition. What is the Nidan Parivarjan? Definitely, as the picture shows, that you have to, or everyone, not only everyone who is expecting a good health for his or him or her, then he should follow the rules like anything. Like you should avoid mainly oily, heavy, and alcohol, atiyashan, eating every time and every very less difference in time. Avyayam, such type of very sedentary lifestyle, we should avoid all these conditions. And there are publications also that the lifestyle changes and prevention of metabolic syndrome in heart of New Ulm project. So this condition, this study was carried on 1,059 adults, and maintaining a healthy lifestyle seemed to be most helpful in avoiding metabolic syndrome over the 2-year study in frame. So this is all written in Ayurveda, but what is needed, I just shown this article with this because this study we can also do on Ayurvedic based on our Ayurvedic parameters and modern parameters, or you can say integrated parameters, and show the whole world that such type of things are evident in our literature. OJAS promoting definitely your immunity enhancer drugs are one of the part of you can say management. Haridra will be a very good adjuvant, Guduchi and Amla, Ashwagandha and Shilajatu. I think in Vrik and associated disorders or disorders related to obesity and diabetes, Shilajit is one of the major component of medication, but still we have to be very careful, very cautious regarding the availability of Shilajit and regarding the purity of the Shilajit, because if something is there which is not fit for the body as a medicine, so that may cause a different kind of hazard to our body and may cause complications. And I think this is the main issue on which our modern fraternity is very much afraid of this. Everybody is every time asking that, oh, is Ayurveda has heavy metals, and there are a lot of heavy metals which are in circulation in different parts of our life. But especially what is blamed is basically on the Ayurveda. But if the medicines which are procured and prepared with classical, you can say, input, then that may not cause a harm to the any kind of individual. Herbal medicines of treating metabolic syndrome, a systemic review of randomized controlled trials. This is also a good article which I found in a journal. So there they have established that the herbal medicines were effective on decreasing waist circumference, blood glucose, blood lipids, and blood pressure. This study suggests the possibility that herbal medicines can be complementary and alternative medicines for metabolic syndrome. So this is a most important evidence that is in favor of our system. Again, an article was published in immunomodulatory activity of Ayurvedic formulation Ashwagandha Churn. This is also a good article that shows that significant increase in neutrophil adhesion and delayed type of hypertension sensitivity. It is concluded that Ashwagandha Churn significantly potentiated the cellular immunity by facilitating the foot pad thickness response to SRBCs in sensitizing rats. So in animal studies, it has proven, and definitely time will come, and these conditions, these things will be easily applied to human beings also. Agni promoting drugs, correcting metabolism drugs, you can say, these are the most important as far as the medical intervention is concerned. Like very simple to name that, like Chitragadivati or Trikatu Churn or Pipli Churn, very simple drugs, but that has to be applied and definitely and see the effect, like Pushkarmul, Gugul, Kushtha, Meshashirangi, Vrikshamala, Rason, Shunthi, Haridra, Arjun, Guduchi, Amla. These are very simple drugs, easily available, but if applied with the, you can say, with proper logic and proper indications, then that will cause a definitely enhance the metabolic activities of the body. And this is evident in this article also, that a physiological aspects of Agni is a conceptual article. You may go through this and you may note down this reference, and you will find that many food items and many substances we can improve the formation of dhatu, or you can say the digestion of the process of digestion. So we relate all these things with Agni, and all the Agni works in coherence with Pith. And so if Pith is of good quality, then Agni will be also good quality. So that will create a kind of optimum level of dhatu in our body. Yoga is definitely one of the you can say activity that will promote and balance the nerves and endocrine. This is most important to balance in any metabolic disorder. It is important to create a kind of balance between nerves and endocrines. So yoga is one of the major component that will you can say take care of both the conditions. Yogasanas like Dhanurasan, Halasan, Matsyasan, Yoga Mudrasan, Utkrashasan, Vajrasan, Siddha. Many asanas are there, Makarasan, Shavasana. Many asanas are there, but it has to be practiced in proper guidance and in proper technical advice. And every body, you can say, asana may not suit every human body. So that is a major concern, and that has to be taken care of. And with the technical guidance, you will just get through these asana which are favorable for your body. Then this is a kind of individual approach, and you can, with this approach, you can put a lot of attention to your physical activity, and you can gain maximum out of that. So yogasana is definitely, and I think I every time say that we should be some selfish and take care of our body. We should definitely spare about half an hour or 45 minutes for our body for every day, so that we can avoid these such type of lifestyle disorders or metabolic syndrome like conditions. Meditative exercises. Most important, I think, if you go through there are a few pranayam, if you practice like Anulom Vilom, that will create a kind of nervous balance. If you practice Bhastrika, then that will cause a kind of upper respiratory tract stimulation. If you practice Kapalbhati, that will cause a stimulation of all the contents which are below the diaphragm and up to the umbilicus. So that will cause a definitely response, and you can ultimately reduce the waist circumference of our body. Similarly, and Bhramari is one of the major component which relaxes our activities of brain, because there are sinuses everywhere around, nasal sinuses and paranasal sinuses, and hollow hardness in our ears, and that always there is a sound or like substance. But if we close all that and create a buzz in our brain cells, or we can stimulate our brains also, so that will be a beneficial part. And so such type of pranayam we should, these 3 or 4 pranayam we should definitely practice in daily basis. Definitely, the role of Panchkarm is definitely it is if it is situated in Kerala, that is the, I think it needs no introduction, because most of the techniques which are now being practiced throughout the Ayurvedic fraternity, is many practices are the contribution of our Kerala state only. So everybody in Kerala, I think that he is full aware of this yoga, this Panchkarm therapy in metabolic syndrome. So definitely, there are many, you can say, applications regarding external as well as internal, which are helpful in metabolic syndrome like condition, or Medoro or Sthaulero. Like this one is Udvartan. It's a kind of powder and paste is applied on the body. It stimulates the fat metabolism, highly beneficial for people with diabetes and obesity. Definitely, this is helpful for this metabolic syndrome. And this is also evident in hypolipidemic effect of Rukshan Upakram in the management of dyslipidemia. It is a case study. It is conducted, and it has really found that Rukshan Upakram is in the form of Takra, Siddha, Yavagu, and Udvartan is effective in the management of dyslipidemia. So this is not only the you can say, it is really evident, and these are the evidences we have to put in front of the fraternity, not only Ayurveda, definitely all the fraternity which is related to the treatment conditions. Again, Abhyang and mild Snehan Swedan, that may also exert a kind of, you can say, mobilize the accumulated fat, especially designed Panchkar procedures for detoxification, and clears and prevents the further accumulation. So such type of Abhyanga and Swedan may be helpful in metabolic syndrome. Definitely, this has to be done with proper guidance, proper technical guidance, and proper advice, and within a supervision of any expert. Otherwise, that may cause a different, you can say, effect on our body also. Hemodynamics. This is one again a paper. There is hemodynamics effect of Sarvanga Swedan, heat therapy, a pilot observational study. This has also found a significant reduction in systolic blood pressure, and pulse rate was also observed. So such type of effects which are definitely found in some of the person. This may be a single case study, but such type of cases, if done in abundance, then that will become a kind of a series, and further that will become a kind of good study in future. So such type of practices also has to be taken care of. This is a good article that is published in Ayu. Again, there are certain conditions like which are helpful in managing this metabolic syndrome, like Abhyanga relaxes muscles and improves circulation, and also increases glucose absorption, and the amount of insulin required for impaired glucose levels also decrease. Abhyang opens the pores, cleanses system through skin, and toxins are excreted through sweat. Excessive Swedan is contraindicated, though excessive Swedan should not be. Definitely, if some person is suffering from hypertension or something like that, then we have to be take care of all those conditions. So such type of Panchkam therapy may be helpful in condition. Dhalnamle Parishek. This is also a condition helpful in Med Pravilanam. This is also very much practiced in our institute also. Role of Dhanyamale Sarvang Dhara in management of obesity. This is a case is also published where this effect of Dhanyamale Dhara has been described. That is moderate relief in obesity symptoms and objective parameters like weight, BMI, waist circumference, hip circumference, and waist hip ratio by Dhanyamale Sarvang Dhara. So such type of effects are being reported by different parts of our scholars. So it has to be practiced to establish such type of findings. Lekhan Vasti is one of the major components which is practiced for this metabolic syndrome condition, like Panchaprasitik Basti, Madhutalik Basti, Nagradodigar Basti, and Salsaradigan Basti. Drugs like Trifla, Kasis, honey, Gomutra, Sandav, Yavakshar, Shilajatu are fat reducing by virtue of their properties. So such type of drugs may be incorporated for the management of metabolic syndrome. And definitely Lekhan Vasti also this is published article in hyperlipidemia, role of lipid. And one of the articles, I have also been a part of that was published by CCRS in way back in 1999, and in which we have given this Lekhan Vasti in the patients of obesity, and that was published. So that is you can say it reduces like body circumference such as chest, abdomen, hip, pelvis, mid thigh circumference, etc. So skin fold thickness and such type of evidence may be found during this Lekhan Vasti. Woman inauguration definitely is also be applied, mainly indicated in the stool pramahi. Woman inauguration curve contraindicated in severe comorbidities like heart disease and poor patient strength. Yes, this has to be definitely what I have emphasized, that all the procedures has to be taken in consultation with a technical you can say person, or this your consulting physician or surgeon. Shodhan clears avran and shrotorod and thus brings back homeostasis. Shirodhara and Nasya, again effective in line management of hypertension. Shirodhara and Nasya, that will give some benefit from hypertension. Raktamokshan, as per and Jalakaucharan, or that is a kind of therapeutic bloodletting. As per Ayurvedic text, toxins accumulation in one of the cause of arterial blockage. Raktamokshan lets out the contaminated blood and relieves blocks in circulation. So this is really important, because if we have seen such cases in Vatrak-like condition, we have seen. So if there is any kind of obstruction, and it is also evident in cases of where veins are prominent in the limbs. In such conditions also we apply some Jaloka and get benefit. So in coronary artery disease or in such condition, if Raktamokshan may be applied, might be of some help. So this has to be practiced with confidence. Least therapeutic applications, definitely this is also a article. It shows about it is efficacious property of leech therapy. The safety and complications of leaching are still controversial. This is definitely there are some, maybe each and every therapy has their benefits, and always also there has some limitations also. So is the leech therapy also. If there are benefits, there may be some kind of limitations also, but definitely it reduces the conditions and reduces inflammation, reduces occlusion of the vessels. So this is this property has to be practiced. Outcomes from whole system Ayurvedic medicine and yoga therapy treatment of obesity, a pilot study. Definitely, this is also a published journal. In participants lost an average of 3.5 kg during the 3 months intervention. So participants who lost 3% of their body weight during 12-week intervention lost an average and additional 3% during the follow-up period. So such type of practice may also be applied to the conditions of metabolic syndrome. So this is a important finding. Ultimately, I think incidence of metabolic syndrome is alarmingly increasing day by day, and a shift towards integrated and holistic approach is needed. Definitely, integration is probably, I think, is the future of medicine, because there are lots of conditions where using one system of medicine may not be sufficient for the betterment of the patient. You ultimately using two systems may be of value a lot. Panchkarma therapies are beneficial for those who are suffering from various metabolic diseases, as well as preventive measures for healthy people. So definitely, such type of these are the beauty of Ayurveda and Ayurvedic principles, and Shodhan therapy, Shaman therapy, and Achar Rasayan, lifestyle, Dincharya, Ritucharya. These are the key points of Ayurveda, and that has to be practiced in each and every kind of disorders. With this, I thank you, and thank you all for giving me this opportunity to share my views on this platform. And once again, I wish a happy Ayurveda Day to everyone, and may Lord Dhanvantari give us a good health, and Hitayu and Sukhayu to everyone. And also give my greetings to upcoming festivals of Deepavali and Bhai Dooj and Govardhan. So with these words, I again thank you. I thank you a lot.
Thank you, sir. That was really an inspiring and a very eye-opening session. And now the session is open for discussion. I request the participants to post their questions in the chat box to ask their questions. Participants with any questions are requested to please post the question in the chat box.
Okay, if they have questions, then it's will be, I will really feel honored to answer that. But if they don't have any question, then you can leave on it on a chat box, and you can ask me directly from on a WhatsApp also. You can give me a WhatsApp also. I would like to conclude, because there is another meeting from 6 o'clock in the evening. So I think I will take permission from the organizers. If there is any question, in one or two question we take.
So there is one question. So can you elaborate how to treat insulin resistance?
Definitely, there's insulin resistance. We are treating what the principles we apply. That is just only one principle we apply for treating insulin. That is reduction of chloride from the body. Only one principle. So whatever the means and the measures or medications you use, you try to reduce the chloride content of our body. That will provide a betterment in insulin resistance. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Any more questions from participants? Okay, so I think there are no more questions.
Thank
Okay,
you.
sir.
Madam. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It was really a very fortunate to have you here on the celebration of AyurCon 2020. You have really added color to our canvas and have really showed us in a wonderful session as well. Thank you so much, sir. Your presence is really a gift for us.
With permission of chair, may I leave now?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Now, moving on to the next session of today. For the second session, we're very fortunate to have Dr. Jitesh M. Sir, Professor and Head of Department of Kaya Chikitsa at VPSV Ayurveda College, Kottagal, here with us to discuss on the topic Rasayana Prayoga in Medovah Shroto Vikaras. Now, before handing over the session to Sir, let me take this opportunity of introducing Sir to this platform. Sir completed his BAMS from VPSV Ayurveda College, Kottakkal, and MD in Kaya Chikitsa from Government Ayurveda College, Thiruvananthapuram. Sir also holds a PhD in Kaya Chikitsa on the thesis of a randomized control trial to assess the role of Mahatiktaka Kwatak tablet in Amlapitta WSR2 functional and display. Sir also holds a certificate course in child disability management, taught course, certificate course in health science education technology, online certificate course in Ayurveda research methodology, and certificate course in adolescent guidance and counseling. Sir entered in service from 2004 an assistant professor in the Department of Kaya Chikitsa at VPSV Ayurveda College, Kottakkal, Kerala, and is currently working as a professor. Sir has a total teaching experience for BAMS for 18 years and for MD as well. We're really fortunate to have you, sir, with us. Now, I would really like to hand over the session to you, sir.
Good evening and namaste to all. I think I am audible.
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
Okay, Ayurveda day wishes to all as well. Let me share my slides as well. Is it visible, ma'am?
Sir, it is in PPT view. Can you please post it in slideshare view?
Okay. Is it okay now?
Yes, sir, it is fine now, sir.
Okay, so let me start with your permission. Let me thank the DIKSHA authorities for inviting me and to have a session on such a good day, Ayurveda day. And I wish to share my little bit of experience that I am having of teaching in the UG and PG level as far as Rasayana is concerned. So let me salute the founder of my institution, Vaidyaratnam P.S. Varyar, the great visionary by which I am capable of standing in front of you to share my experiences. And this is my institute, which I am working for the last 18 years. So we are having 7 PGs, and they're the only institution in the state where psychiatry PGs there in Ayurveda. And coming to Rasayana, and as I think that as I am a AyurSA faculty, I may be invited for this topic of Rasayana. But what I think is that among the Ashtangas, Rasayana is kept as a separate entity, a separate anga, so that each and every branch can make use of it. It is a unique feature of Ayurveda, and it's a comprehensive discipline. What all are Rasayanas? The definition varies. But if you are using that, any therapeutic modality which promotes longevity, enhances tissue hemostasis, and disease tolerability can be termed as Rasayana. By which what happens is that anything that is we are using in treatment is a Rasayana. Our Ahara is Rasayana, sleep is Rasayana, everything. So such a broad vision we are having as far as Rasayana is concerned. And it is Hedu Viparita as well as Vyadhi Viparita. That's the importance of that branch. And we all are familiar with Rasayanas. We know that there are several mode of actions as far as Rasayana is concerned. I am not going into the details, but yes, you all know these are nutraceuticals. They are having antioxidant property. They make us adaptogenic to the environmental stresses and all. They enhances the immune system. And then they have some sort of effect on our genes as well. That I'll be showing a few articles after these. These are neurotrophic, and they'll be having some sort of psychological enhancement properties. So these are such a group of drugs which are having such a range of activity. That is a unique feature of Rasayana. Then these all can be categorized into these 3 categories. One which is Ajasriga, which is promoting healthy diet style. One is Kamya, which promotes longevity and intelligence. And the other one is Naimitika, which is disease specific, but not for curative purpose, but for preventive as well as palliative purpose. That's why we are using. And this is the possible mode of action. I'll be going through some basics, as I think this is the only session as far as Rasayana is concerned in the program. So 3 ways it is acting. These we all know. One, they may enhance the rasa, which may lead to enhancement of other dhatus. The third one is it enhances Agni and it enhances the dhatus. The third one is very important. It is working at a micro level. It enhances micro circulation and ensures the bioavailability. That is why it is working in such a wide range of diseases, improving the quality of tissues, which may lead to longevity, immunity, and psychological status as well. So that is the probable mode of action we are expecting, among which the action of the sodas is so crucial. That is why we are using in such a range of diseases. And let me include the term a biopsychosocial model, which was explained by George Engels in 1977. When describing the mental disorders, he was short of the physical factors or biological factors, which they are not capable of explaining a mental illness. So they thought, what all other factors are involved? They were explaining it as a social component is there for each and every disease, and also psychological component. When we are looking back to the Ayurvedic methodology, Ayurveda is explained everything in a biopsychosocial model. I'll be explaining in the next slide. Here we can know the term Ajara Rasayana, rejuvenation without a single medicine, where the social factors are addressed as far as Rasayana is concerned. So Rasayana is having a social component that has to be enhanced. That will add on to the therapy. Such a description was given 3,000 years back. And the recent concept on 1977 only, George Engels has coined the term biopsychosocial model. But we are approaching everything in a biopsychosocial model as far as Ayurveda is concerned. And let me include the disease metabolic syndrome. Each and every disease or many clinical conditions can be included under the term metabolic syndrome, the range is becoming more and more. We cannot cover each and every diseases in a single presentation as far as such as others, especially the Medavaha is concerned. So I'll be going through what we are practicing in regularly, like that I'll be explaining. Okay. Before that, the basic principle I'll be explaining. In such a Medavaha Dushti, we have to adopt these two techniques for management. One, the common factor is Vata anyway. It gets obstructed. If it gets obstructed due to Kapha, we have to go for the Rukshana and Pajana Chikitsa, which we are adopting in Amavada or several other diseases. If we are suspecting or if we are clarifying an involvement of Pitta, the treatment methodology varies. Then we have to go for Vadahara as well as Rakta Prasadana. So likewise, we have to select a Rasayana in such a condition of Medovasrodas. If the Anubandha dosha is Kabha, you go for Pipali or you go for Chitraga as per the demand from the situation. And if we are confirming that there is Pitta Anubandha, you can go for Guruchi Rasayana, or even we can go for Yashti. So we are adopting such a principle for the selection of Rasayana as far as such Medovaha, Srodo, Dushti Vigaras are concerned. Then everybody knows that Purve Vayasi Madhyeva is the actual time for use of Rasayanas. When we are going through the modern literature, we are getting an idea that 10 to 20 years prior to clinical manifestation, we get an idea of dementia or Alzheimer's disease, but we are not able to identify. We are identifying it when there is adequate clinical manifestation and it is not reversible. So recent failures of anti-Alzheimer's disease therapy in late stage clinical trials has pointed out to the situation that it is better to early identify the condition for which several markers are there, and you have to go for a prevention so that you may prevent the manifestation of dementia and such diseases. In a similar manner, in our Samhita also it is clarified. It is Purve Vayasi Madhyeva, it is mentioned. Here I will be explaining the markers. These all markers are undergoing research as far as neurodegenerative diseases is concerned. There is some predictive biomarker. If you are aware of the predictive biomarker, but this is becoming now common only. It is not aware to all, but the medical world is going behind that as a research, so that they will be able to identify the problem and they may to go for a preventive therapy where Rasayana will be having a high role to play. That is my point. And coming to I told that there are a lot of properties as far as Rasayana is concerned. I'll be going for some evidence-based researches that will be so significant, I think. This is the evaluation of antioxidant potential, where we are going for combinations such as superoxide dismutase, etc., etc. Then what they have studied is that Ashwagandha and Guluchi, they have given to one group and placebo to other group. They have gone for the assessment of this MDA and SOD, were assessed before and after treatment, and it shows that significant increase in SOD level and decrease in MDA level was observed in such groups. The thing is that if we are going through the literature, as far as Rasayana is concerned, very less researches we may be able to proceed. But there are a lot of experimental studies as well as trial in healthy human volunteers. So we have to go through such articles for evidence. And this is one of the interesting studies. You must have read these studies, but I want to substantiate my point. This is, I told now that Rasayanas are having some sort of action in the genetical part as well. What this study says that it was a cytogenetic study where one was smoking BDs is having precancerous lesion in the mouth. Such two groups were selected. In one group, they have added 20 grams of Chyavanprash, and the other group, they asked the patients to stop BD. That's all. And they compared what happened. Then what they have concluded is that these lesions were much reduced in the group where Chyavanprash is administered. But we cannot go for a human trial with such and such things, as there will be a lot of ethical issues. But they have conducted a study in such a condition and concluded that Chyavanprash can further minimize the genotoxic effect caused by the mutagenic agent. PD can be considered, smoking may be considered as a cyto, toxic and as well as mutagenic agent. Chyawanprash is able to revise such a situation. But this is a positive data. In a similar manner, we are having a cancer OPD in Ayurvedishala, where what we are doing is that we are giving certain add-on medicines along with the modern drugs. We are not withdrawing the modern drugs, but we are adding, as per the condition, we are adding some Ayurvedic therapy and we are assessing what is happening. A lot of data is available which enhances the quality of life, which enhances the therapy of the modern medicines, the chemotherapy, and it enhances the immune. In a similar manner, a lot of studies are there regarding radioprotective agent in cancer treatment is also data is available. How they are working is also important, I think. How they are working, they may be enhancing the immune system, which I have already explained, enhances the adaptogenic effect, antioxidant enzymes, on reducing the lipid peroxidation, reducing the inflammation. In several ways, they are working in such and such conditions. And also adaptogenic, I told no, adaptogenic drugs help us to tolerate the environmental stressors, biological, physical, and chemical stressors. And a lot of rasayanas like Pinosporia cordifolia, Asparagus racemosus has been proved in such a manner. Also, one more thing I wish to add is that an interesting study of Glycyrrhiza glabra root extract on the dendritic morphology. What it is proven is that enhancement of dendritic carburization. That means they are capable of producing or enhancing the action of the available neurons in an experimental study. So we are using HT in several conditions, especially in memory area, early dementia or mild cognitive impairment, we are using HT or similar drugs. And also, I was explaining of the longevity which the rasayana is able to provide. Such a study cannot be considered in a human being, but a lot of studies are available in the fruit fly, which are having the lowest lifespan as far as organism is concerned. They have studied the Guluchi Churna rasayana effect, which says that Guluchi Churna enhances the lifespan of the melanogaster and also in both parent and the next generation. So it is having an impact even on the next generation. That is a very important point as far as this study is concerned. And also I'll be explaining one more study where I wish to say that Nidra is a rasayana. Nidra is a very important rasayana. And see the outcome of this study. The sleep duration and sleep disturbances and life expectancy was studied in Finland, Sweden, such European countries, England, Finland, and Sweden, where 55,000 individuals were followed up. What they have concluded is that health and disease-free years were 6 to 3 years shorter for those who reported severe sleep disturbances. If you are having a continuous sleep disturbances, our life expectancy is coming down by 3 to 6 years. That means this is a very important rasayana. And everywhere we have to assess the sleep as well. In each and every condition, now sleep in the modern medical world, the most affected area as far as patients or individuals is concerned is none other than sleep. So we have to go for the quality assessment of sleep, where we are having certain questionnaires such as Pittsburgh Sleep Quality Index, PSQI, you may be aware of. We have to go with that. That will help you to assess the sleep of the individual, but rather the quantity is not only sufficient for a diagnosis. In a similar manner, Amalagi rasayana we are also using in several conditions. This is an interesting study. Your susceptibility or immunity for lifestyle disorders depend much on our telomere length. Telomere is a protein associated with our gene. The length is very much crucial as far as our immunity to lifestyle disorders is concerned. The influence of Amalagi rasayana is that it increases the telomerase activity with no discernible change in telomere length. That means that this rasayana, Amalagi rasayana, is very much potent of providing immunity against the lifestyle disorders, and that can be put into practice. Is Ahara rasayana? Then this study concludes that impact on nutrition on telomere health. Telomere I was explaining in the previous slide. So what I wish to add here is that if you are going for such a selective diet with some antioxidant nutrients, fruits, vegetables, etc., the telomere length will be as such, it will not come down, and you'll be having an immunity as far as metabolic disorders is concerned. So selection of the diet is so crucial in lifestyle disorders or diseases affecting the Medovahar cells. One other area Rasayana is highlighting is the bioavailability enhancement. For example, drugs such as Tippali, Singiberofishnale, NEST, these are bioenhancers. That is why we are using it at the end of the disease after proper Shodhana. We are maintaining it after 2 to 3 months, and that enhances the quality of the therapy, help it to reduce the dose, and also, in fact, reduces the treatment cost. So the bioavailability enhancement is a potent capability of selected Rasayana such as Tippali, Ardraga, EST, etc. Then this is one of the interesting study. In each and every patient who are undergoing Rasayana in our institute, we may be going for a possible Shodhana and also a specific Shodhana mentioned in the Samhita. The specific Shodhana mentioned is Haridagyadi Yoga. You all may be knowing Haridagi, Malagam Saindavam Vajra. This yoga is mentioned, which is mentioned as a specific Shodhana. So this is one of the interesting study. We are doing it in almost all the patients which are undergoing Rasayana. But is it a Shodhana sufficient for as Purva Karma for Rasayana? No. But this study from Jamnagar says that after Haridagyadi Yoga Shodhana, there was an increase in sperm count in the case of oligospermia. So what I wish to highlight is that such specific Shodhana is not only aimed to enhance the efficacy of Rasayana, but it is also having an action on the body. So here serum LH and serum FSH and serum testosterone was having change, and it is adding to the enhancement of the efficacy of Vajikarana, which we are going to apply after the Haridagyadi Shodhana. So, but we have to take care. 9 drugs are there. We are going for 3 gram each, means 27 gram. But one of the drug is Vaja, which is a Vamanobaga drug. You don't go for Vamana 3 gram. Otherwise, the patient will be having drastic vomiting, and there is a chance of moving on to dehydration. And Koshta Shuddhi is a very effective in augmenting effect of the therapy. This is one of the study which I have quoted, which I am skipping. And I think as far as lifestyle disorder management is concerned, if you are assessing the efficacy, which all Shodhana is having more capability, undoubtedly we can say that Virejana is having much more action as far as metabolic syndrome is concerned. And it is the most used Shodhana as far as clinical practice is concerned. But we are also going for some Vamana in selected condition. Vamana is also quite useful. But on comparison, I think that Virejana is having much more action as it is capable of managing all the 3 doshas, and it is causing anilomia to the body. It is causing Manaprasada, Buddhi Prasada, etc. And in fact, it is working as a Rasayana. So Shodhana is also a Rasayana. Now see this study, this is Virejana Karma over fructose-induced metabolic syndrome. I already told that this is SAGE journal, one of the top journal, but the study was in experimental study because in human there are a lot of limitations for conducting such a study. What they concluded is that after Virejana, there was decrease in fecal fat content, fasting blood sugar, serum triglyceride, and even reduced fatty changes in liver, heart, and kidney. So that is why we are practicing a lot in non-alcoholic fatty liver diseases, where we are going for a Kapahara Snehabana, followed by a Virejana. Then Virejana Shodhana will be followed by Rasayana such as Tippali or Kanmada, which I will be explaining in the coming slide. In a similar manner, there are a lot of studies are there. I have selected a few studies only. Then Arogya Vardhini Vadi is one such combination, which we are effectively using in the management of obesity, hypothyroidism, and other also non-alcoholic fatty liver diseases where Kapha is more involved in the supply. Coming to another area where we have tried several Vamana Karma, the patient is willing for admitted treatment and also Shodhana. Most patients are not willing as far as dyslipidemia is concerned, and they will be approaching us after a preliminary attack of CAD and all, where patient may not be fit for such Shodhana. But studies are there for Vamana Karma, which says that Vamana Karma is a very significant effect, especially in the HDL. It is capable of increasing the level of HDL and also reducing the level of LDL, which is quite necessary as far as health of heart is concerned. So I am telling these articles for indicating the evidence, for indicating what we are doing in clinical practice. And also obesity, what we are following is that we are assessing the contributing factors and addressing, alter the lifestyle and diet, and we'll be going for Rukshana or most probably Udvartana. We may be going for other things as well, other Rukshana as well, as per the demand from the situation. And the Snehapana is the most effective thing as far as obesity management is concerned, where usually we'll be selecting Tila Thaila or Sarshapa Thaila. And if the patient is not willing for intake of Thaila, we may be going for Kabahara Grudha, such as Shatpala or Varanadi or something like that. And if the patient is indicated for Vamana, we'll be proceeding with Vamana. And also Vastis like Eranda Muladi or Vaidarana we are practicing. And after that, Rasayanas will be selecting from Gugulu, Kanmada or Tripura. Gugulu is a very useful Rasayana, but less in clinical practice. We are now using much in our hospital nowadays. But one thing I wish to highlight from this slide is that the maximum benefit we are getting from this process after Snehapana. Maximum reduction in MI we are getting after Snehapana. So Snehapana is the most effective treatment as far as Saulya Chikitsa is concerned at the IP level. And also I wish to highlight that people are very much aware of the Sneha is causing a lot of problem. If they are having CAD or dyslipidemia, they may not be having a willingness to take Grudha. They may be asking us, sir, it may be causing to some sort of cardiac problem. Then this is a very interesting communication published in JAME, which says that short-term escalating administration of large amount of Sneha does not increase blood lipids. See, that is a very, very motivative communication. We have to explain to the patient that Vardhamana Snehapana is capable of reduction in body weight, reduction in abdominal circumferences, and level of specific lipids such as triglycerides and very low density lipoproteins. So this has to be kept in mind, and we have to educate our patients what is happening. Otherwise, they will be in confusion whether they are having lipidemia. Still again, you are going for Grudha and this Snehapana at a high dose. They may be causing some problem. So communication to the patient is very much essential as far as current medical practice is concerned. In a similar manner, we have also tried the Leghana Vasti or even Eranda Muladi in dyslipidemia also, which are very effective. See, this conclusion is very important. This says that Virajana Karma is effective in reducing triglyceride level, whereas Leghana Vasti is effective in reducing the cholesterol level in particular. That indicates that Virajana is somewhat having an acute action, but the persistent action is for Leghana Vasti. So if you can go for both, but the conclusion is that if you are thinking of a chronic action or continuous action, it is better to go for Vasti rather than going for Virajana in the conditions of dyslipidemia or some Medu Roga, we can say. In a similar manner, buttermilk is very important. Buttermilk is very important. Sadhyastam Avidahicha, it is explained in Grahani Chikitsa, and it is a very good Sodha drug. And a lot of studies are there. It is a Grioshad of Grahani, and studies conclude that the buttermilk is having a capability of controlling or regulating the peristaltic movement. That is very much needed as far as the management of IBS or single functional gastrointestinal disorders is concerned. So here is another study where buttermilk is having a potency on blood pressure in hypercholesterolemic men and women. We can explain that it may be due to the Srodho-Shodhana property of buttermilk, which has been administered to the patient, which may be capable of reducing the hypercholesterolemic condition as well as the blood pressure. So we can advise our patient to use such things in dietary advice we can provide in a similar manner. Also, Shodhana, I have already told in hypertension, it is better to go for Virejana as the Pradiloma Chikitsa is not effective as per our experience. But in dyslipidemia, you can apply much more Vamana as well. There is a comparative studies that Virejana proved better relief as compared to Vasti. Even when compared to Vasti, Virejana is having better effect as far as management of essential hypertension is concerned. Also, this is one of the study we have conducted in Kerala University of Health Sciences. Being the principal investigator, we have selected three types of combination. This is based on the dosha-based treatment, the clinical treatment, where the Sarpagandha was kept as common, and we have added Mahat Panchamula in Vada group, Trina Panchamula in Pitta group, and Triphala in Kaba group. We were added to Sarpagandha, and we have tried it in essential hypertension. What I wish to highlight is that while selecting combination, you have to assess the dosha avastha as well. Along with Vyadhihara Chikitsa, along with Doshahara Chikitsa, you have to go for Vyadhihara Chikitsa as well. So Vyadhihara Chikitsa plus Doshahara Chikitsa may be an ideal combination. While in Desamula Kadutraya Kashaya, Desamula is Doshahara, Kadutraya is Pajana, Vasa is Vyadhihara. So that makes such a combination. Likewise, we have to frame such and such combination while going for management of clinical conditions. As far as hypothyroidism is concerned, a lot of rasayanas we have tried, but most effective we have observed is none other than Tipali rasayana, which is very much cost effective and affordable for the patient. And also, patient will be able to take it with ease, provided you have to ensure that there is no much pitta vardhi for the patient. Pipali Vardhamana, this study is interesting. They have compared whether Pipali is effective in Vardhamana or fixed dosage pattern. In classics, it is told as Vardhamana. But we can go for fixed dosage pattern as well. So what they have concluded is that thyroid profile is more effective when administered in Vardhamana dosage compared to fixed dosage. So we are giving a certificate to our acharyas that they have explained it in Vardhamana, but we are trying it for fixed dosage pattern based on our yutti. But we are concluded that what is told in Samhita is right. So such studies are the need of the hour so that we can alter the dose and dose. Also, we are getting a few autoimmune Hashimoto's thyroiditis where we are having slight change in management. The patient will be moving on to the higher side, that is hyperthyroidism, and they will be coming back to the hypothyroidism. In hyperthyroidism, we have to go for a Vata Pitta Hara Chikitsa. While for hypothyroidism, we have to combine the Vata Kapha Hara Chikitsa. So this is one of the case reports we have published where we have given Varunadi Kwada Bhavida Silajadu for a period of 3 months with a 2 months follow-up. And we have published it in Journal of Ayurveda Case Reports. The conclusion is very important. Forget about TSH. What I have told that there is some sort of autoimmune disturbances in Hashimoto's thyroiditis. See the two antibodies, the TPO antibody and the thyroglobulin antibody. It was 208.7 before trial, which turned on to 32. In a similar manner, 1270 turned on to 56. So what I wish to highlight is that if we are providing, we have gone for Shodhana and all. I have told Gulchadi, Kolabulatadi, Durtana, Tikta Gradas, Nehabana, Pinga. We have gone for Vamana, and also we have gone for Virejana with Avibhati, Mridu Virejana, after against Nehabana. So what I wish to say is that even in the autoimmune thyroiditis conditions where the immune system is much deranged, our rasayana, here we have used Varanadi Kwada Bhavida Silajadu. They are having such and such effect. That is my point. Also, we are going for, I have told Vardhamana Pipali, and also we have tried Leghana Vasti as well. The articles which I am showing is different one, but I thought you must have some sort of evidence as well. So we have tried everything. Leghana Vasti we have tried, but there are some differences are there. But total cholesterol and 2 clinical scores assessing symptoms and signs of hypothyroidism and Sulevsky score we were using to assess hypothyroidism. Significant results are found in both groups, but more percentage of relief was found in group B. That means more result this study got in Paratrigadi Leganavasti. So what I wish to highlight is that we can also plan Basti Karma in hypothyroidism. And coming to another area which is quite important as far as obesity or any disease is concerned, we have to think about the role of gut microbiota, and which is very much discussed throughout the world, and it's contributing to not only to type 2 diabetes, or every disease or obesity, some muscle disorder, and even they are thinking of if there are any gut muscle axis. We all know that there is a brain gut axis. Now they are thinking, is there a brain muscle axis? Because in each and every disease there is a control of this central nervous system and all. So we have to think about the gut microbiota. That is why Acharyas are given much stress to the Agni, management of Agni, Payadi Krama, Ahara Krama, etc. etc. They all are having a positive effect on this gut microbiota. So I'll be saying a few studies. Virejana Karma. This is one of the interesting study that has been studied. What will be happening to gut microbiota with Virejana Karma, which concludes that correction of the gut flora dysbiosis is possible. Usually in our practice, we are doing a lot of Virejana. We may be going for Snigdha Virejana or Ruksha Virejana as per the condition, but we may be not be able to assess the status of gut microbiota because it is costly and it is not available in our nearby places. We must have a good lab for that. But what we wish to study from this article is that Virejana is capable of correcting our gut dysbiosis. That means some alteration in gut microbiota is being corrected with Virejana. That is the importance of our Shodhana Chikitsa. And after the Virejana, we are going for a Payadi Krama that corrects the Agni. One which corrects the Agni will be also correcting the gut microbiota. So similar studies are the need of the hour, but we have to plan accordingly for that. In a similar manner, you are administering Patya for each and every disease. Just Patya is having an effect on gut microbiota. Gut microbiota is causing some sort of inflammatory mechanism in the GI tract. This inflammatory mechanism in due course may lead to several diseases. So what we have to do? We have to reduce the inflammation in the GI tract by managing the gut microbiota. For that, the Patya we are administering to each and every disease will become effective. So such a study concludes that Patya influences the gut microbiota by lowering the inhibiting inflammatory markers such as IL-6. You may be knowing interleukin-6, IL-2, etc., etc. That I am not going in detail. But what I wish to say is that even the Ahara Krama we are administering after Shodhana is capable of correcting the gut dysbiosis. Similar is the case of Rasayana. If you are administering Rasayana is having such a property. That is why they are quite effective in preventing neurodegenerative disorders such as Parkinsonism. Because when I already told about Alzheimer's, in a similar manner, the medical world is thinking of each and every neurodegenerative diseases where it can be identified early, whether the progression can be delayed. But definitely, if you are able to identify and use Rasayanas, we may be quite capable of preventing such diseases to progressing to Parkinsonian plus syndrome or similar situations. In a similar manner, what I wish to highlight here is that in any type of chronic diabetes patient which are not responding to Shamana Chikitsa, we can easily manage with Shodhana Chikitsa. We have to go for Vamana, Virejana or both. But the thing is that the patient may not be willing for an admission. They are not having very big issues as far as their lifestyle or daily activities is concerned. We have to compel them. But what we have observed is that if they are getting admitted and if they are giving a Shodhana Sneha with even this Sarshapa Thaila or Tira Thaila or something like that, and if you are performing Vamana and followed by Karmada Rasayana or similar Rasayana, or even Shamana Chikitsa such as Nishakatakati or some other yogas, the blood, we are capable of managing the blood sugar, and drastic changes are observing HbA1c. Just after 3 months, if you are going for HbA1c analysis, definitely it will come down. So that points to the efficacy of Shodhana in prameha. Then one of the most common conditions we are dealing is diabetic neuropathy, where what we are doing is that actual control of DM. HbA1c is the real indicator. Not need of going for FBS frequently. We have to go for HbA1c. And stress is one of the most contributory factors as far as diabetes is concerned. Patient may be saying, sir, I am not taking anything. I am not having any other issue. Still the sugar is not coming down. So what we are doing, we are having psychiatric PG. So we are assessing the stress of each and every individual coming who are not responding to our management protocol as mentioned in Kai Jigilsa. We'll be going for perceived stress scale. I'll be showing in the next slide. And we will be assessing whether what about the stress, how much they are perceiving. The percept is important because we all are having stress. How much we are adopting or how much we are perceiving is causing the distress or discomfort to the body. And alteration, we are doing alteration in the lifestyle. These all we may be knowing. First Rukshana, we may be using Gola Gulatadi, Vara, or even Shastiga. And the Snehapana is so crucial in such conditions. We are going either for Sashabadaila or, but Sashabadaila is very horrible for intake as far as patient is concerned. We are also going for Sahajadi or Dhanandara. And if there is involvement of Pitta and diabetic neuropathy, we have to think about combinations of other Shonida such as Madhyashyadi. A lot of people may be associated stress. Then we'll be going for Snehapana with Kalyanaga. So everything depends on the situation which patient is presenting. In this situation, just forget about diabetes, just address stress in the initial stages so that the patient may be responding. Then after that, we may be going for Vamana, Virejana or both, and Madhu Tailiga Vasti is very effective. Jasayano, Prameha, Harsha, Krimi, Unmandra Vruddhina. It is the only one yoga where Jasayatva is mentioned among the Samanya Vasti yoga. It may have mentioned in some Vyabana Vasti, but Madhu Tailika is not one such Vasti, and it is a Rasayana. It is quite effective in management of diabetic neuropathy and similar condition. Then one more thing I wish to add is that in the classics, single Rasayana yogas are explained. But in our clinical practice, we are going for several combinations. For example, if a Vada Shonida with Pitta involvement is there and also Vada Pitta involvement is there, then we may be adding, and Saita Amavastha is there, then we may be adding Tippali. Tippali is ideal Rasayana for Vada Shonida, provided some sort of Kaba involvement is there. But we also assess some sort of Pittanubandha there. Then we may be adding Guluchi plus Pippali as Rasayana in such condition. So what I wish to say is that in the classics, single combinations are mentioned. But in the clinical practice, we can combine anything. Bala plus Sundi, we are going for diabetic neuropathy with Vada Kabaja Pradhanya. In a similar manner, we can go for any combinations based on classics. Then one more Rasayana which I wish to highlight, and which is not in usual practice, but we are using. In the first case, when a myopathy case came, we have gone for Tailapana, and after that we have conducted Virejana and Nasya. And after that, we were thinking about Rasayana. At that time, Guguru was available in our hospital. And for the first time, we were using Guguru for that patient almost 4 years back. At that time, we have gone through the Ashtanga Sangraha, where a detailed explanation of Guguru Rasayana is mentioned. One thing is interesting. Guguru may be administered in any disease which is causing some sort of obstruction to the Gati of Vada with Medas, with the system which we are discussing today. And it can be administered with Anubana suitable for that disease. Any clinical condition we may administer with suitable Anubana. It resembles Kanmada almost. We have tried it in non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, polycystic ovarian syndrome, myopathies, and even the peripheral vascular disease where much Pitta Rekta Anubandha is not visualized. We can go for Guguru as it is a good Srodha Gata. What we are doing is that we are taking Shuddha Guguru, Anubana is selected as per Vyadi. We are starting it with 3 grams, increase up to 15 grams or more, maybe continuing up to 20, even up to 21 days. We can go to 14 or 21 as per the situation. And if there is any Pitta Vruddhi, you have to stop the medicine, stop the Rasayana and go for Virejana. And you have to go, if it is not suitable, you have to go for another Rasayana based on the condition of the patient. One more area I wish to highlight that you must all have met with myotonic dystrophy. This is not the area which is given to me today, but for explaining the Sarva Dhatu Gada Avastha of such a clinical condition, I have taken this an example where they need Rasayana, actually Rasayana. If you see the myotonic dystrophy, where the patient will be having affection of each and every area, there may be cognitive impairment, arrhythmia, glucose intolerance, GI disturbance, some sort of testicular atrophy, then myotonia, muscle wasting, hypothyroidism may associate. So what happens is it is a condition affecting Sarva Dhatu. So definitely we have to think about the sign. And there is some sort of the Dhatu Dushti as well. The improper Dhatu metabolism may be happening. That is also one of the indication of the sign. So we have to adopt the treatment principle of Rajekshma in such conditions, even though we cannot diagnose it as Rajekshma. So what we are doing, the patient will be having muscular dystrophy, so we'll be going for Dukshana, but somewhat Brahmana Udvartana we have to select as told in Rajekshma, such as Jivandyadi. Then Tailapana is quite ideal in such condition rather than Bridapana. But if the patient is not fit for Taila, you can go for Shodho, Shodaka drugs such as Shatpala. After Virejana, also we may be going for Ulsadana with Jivandyadi or even Shashtiga. And some sort of Brahmana Vasti such as Bala Patavuladi or Dvipanjamuladi. Even we have gone for Kala Vasti in such conditions such as myopathy or myasthenia gravis. We have conducted Vasti even up to 30 days. And the Vasti which I am preferring in such condition is number one, Gugulu. It may not be available. Then you go for Kanmada. Kanmada maybe is ideal for several disorders. Sarveshu Rogeshu Shirahumcha. What I wish to say is that n number of combination may be designed based on the information from the Samhitas. We must not depend on Samhita. We may go for some other combination as per your yukti. And full freedom is given to the clinician by our acharyas. Then one more area I wish to highlight is Chitraga Rasayana, which is not much useful here. Mostly it is the most effective Rasayana as far as neurodegenerative conditions are concerned. For example, we are using much in motor neuron disease, chronic inflammatory demyelinating polyneuropathy, CIDP, where you must have met with acute AIDP or Guillain-Barré syndrome, where Chitraga is not much useful because it is in that condition there is some sort of involvement of Pitta. So what we are doing, we are taking Shuddha Chitraga, dose of Churna, we are starting from 3 to 5 gram, maybe increasing up to 15 gram based on the condition of the patient. There is a chance of Pitta Vriddhi, and we are using with either Thaila, Kshira or Grida as per the condition, and we are using it up to 21 days, slightly increased and maintained. And you have to go for either with the Kshira or Shashtika Odana to reduce the Pitta Vriddhi that may happen in such a condition. And as far as such disease of Medovaha Srodhas is concerned, we have tried it in non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, provided there is no liver function derangement. And also we are using it in quite effectively in conditions such as hypothyroidism. It is one of the useful rasayanas as far as hypothyroidism is concerned. And we are planning one study of comparing Chitraga with Ardraga Vardhamana in hypothyroidism. The study is just yet started and not concluded. Then one more rasayana we are using is Belladaga, where identifying the right person is crucial. Otherwise you will be in trouble. Provided the condition may be Vata Kabaja, predominantly Kabaja. Already 10 types of use is explained in Samhita. Usually we are using it in the most mild state, that is Shira Bhaga. We are preparing it from it within the form of Shira. First day one Baladaga, increase by 1 daily up to 2 weeks. Then we will be maintaining the dose. We have continued it up to 3 to 4 weeks in certain patients where Pitta Vriddhi we are not observed. There also Shira, dominant diet and Evagu is very essential. It is a very useful rasayana provided in myopathy, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease or hypothyroid. And in Amavada, where Kapha is not dominant and the patient is not responding to any other rasayanas, if he or she is fit for such a rasayana, definitely you may go for, provided you have to think about the Ridu, whether it is Grishma, whether the patient is Pitta Prakriti, and whether there is Pitta involvement with the Sambrapi of that disease. That is so crucial. Then here a lot of studies are there. I will be showing only for evidence on hepatocellular carcinoma, anti-cancerous effect is studied. That is an animal study. You all know that that is not possible in human trial. What they have concluded is that it is capable of reducing the hepatocellular carcinoma marker, that is alpha-2 macroglobulin. So we can use, it's an area of research. As we all are students, we have to think about such and such researches so that the science, the quality of science may be enhanced only through evidence, and we have to go for publication. We are a bit hesitant as far as publication is concerned. Then only the research finding may be disseminated among the scientific community. Then already I have explained Kanmada. It is one of the very useful rasayanas in clinical practice. We are using as per the disease, we are selecting as Kashaya, we are doing it in Bhavana, we are starting as 3 gram, we enhanced up to 12 to 15 gram we have used with Grida or Shira, and we will be continuing up to 21 days. It is very effective in conditions such as diabetic neuropathy. If it is Vada dominant, we may be adding Bala plus Kanmada. We are using combinations. And it is also used in non-alcoholic fatty liver disease and also Duchenne muscular dystrophy. We have tried Kanmada Rasayana, which is a condition commonly available and seen in children. And as our department is having psychiatry PG, we are having several studies in depression as well, as far as especially the Kabajonmada category. But the thing is that the availability is the limitation. We are not able to procure pure Kanmada or exact Kanmada as far as the situation in Kerala is concerned. And one of the other studies, I am going through some other areas, diabetic neuropathy, we have compared a study. We have done a Sarvanga Takradara and also Shiro Takradara. And what is the difference? We have assessed in the peripheral neuropathy. So what is the finding is that both were effective in neuropathy. But the Shiro Takradara showed significant reduction in blood sugar level as well. That was not possible with a Sarvanga Sakradara. So what I wish to say is that if you are planning a protocol for diabetic neuropathy, you have to select a modality which is capable of controlling blood sugar as well. Otherwise, you may not expect as much as result. So that is a point I wish to highlight from this study. Already I have explained the effect of Madhu Tailika Vasti. A study has already undergone in diabetic neuropathy. We can use, even though Vasti is generally contraindicated in Prameha, we are having a specific indication, and also Madhu Tailika Vasti is a Rasayana, and also Rasayana Prameha Harsha, Primi, Gunma, Antravardina. Prameha is one of the indication. So we are usually doing it in cases not responding after Shodhana of diabetic neuropathy. So it is having a good effect. And also this is for our students. They have to think about whether one of the study was concluded, it was published in PubMed. So what they have concluded is that in a patient with AIDS or acute immunodeficiency syndrome, they may be going with ART, antiretroviral therapy. And if we are adding Shilajadu Rasayana, what may be the add-on effect? So their conclusion is very much interesting. Shilajadu decreases the recurrent resistance of HIV virus to antiretroviral therapy and improves the outcome of the therapy. So we have to conduct such multidisciplinary studies with add-on therapy so that we may have such and such conclusion. So that is a potential of Shilajadu Rasayana. It is very effective in add-on with antiretroviral therapy as well. And also this is not the area of expertise as far as my experience is concerned. But I am quite sure that polycystic ovarian syndrome is very much, these all conditions are almost related or dependent upon the insulin resistance, where we are incorporating the Staule Chikitsa, Prameha Chikitsa and all. So here also in PCOS, we have tried Shilajadu Rasayana, we have tried Lesuna Rasayana, and it is causing effect as well. And Gomutra is Gomutra Rasayana. I don't think how many of you will agree, but it is a wonderful drug as far as clinical practice is concerned. And in Ayurveda Cancer OPD, we are having the Via capsule. And this, we all know that Gomutra is the most important problem we are facing is it cannot be preserved and it is not available as such as well. So what we have done is that we have gone for a extraction of the ingredients of Gomutra, and we have made it in a capsule so that it is easy to administer for the patient also, and it is causing a lot of improvement in not only in cancer but also in ascites, obesity, edema, and similar other conditions. So this is a study on Gomutra Arka, and it concludes that Gomutra Arka is having anti-diabetic, antioxidant, as well as safe in Vistar albino rash. They have tried in experimental level. What I wish to say is that you can go for Gomutra therapy in such and such conditions such as obesity, dyslipidemia, SOFA, even early cirrhosis and similar, even non-alcoholic fatty liver disease with efficacy. You may be able to practice provided the drug is available. And also the anti-obesity potential of fresh cow urine is also being assessed. It's a very interesting study. We conclude that the distillate has reduced BMI, abdominal circumferences, obesity index, atherogenic index. These are all the key features of this Medho Vaha Sodho Dushti. So in clinical practice also, we may be able to go, and it is also a very good rasayana as far as Medho Vaha Sodho Dushti is concerned. And I have already explained Amalagi Rasayana, and we are getting a lot of patients with post-infectional angina, previous history of CAD. Still, if they are continuing the allopathic medicines, they'll be having some sort of symptoms, maybe exertional dyspnea, palpitation. We are adding several rasayanas as well. We are adding Amalagi Rasayana. In those who are not diabetic, we are going for Agastya Rasayana. We are going for individual combinations such as Bala, Arjuna, Gokshura, etc. in post-infection and similar condition. This is one of the interesting studies which concluded that Amalaga Rasayana is having effect on improving cardiac function and interacts with hypertrophy. So even in some sort of structural disturbances, you may believe Amalagi Rasayana. You can administer it to patients so that you'll be having a functional enhancement, but we have to go for further documentation so as to reach a publication. So what we are doing is that we are taking Amalagi, we are doing Bhavana in Amalagi Swarasa as well. We are powdering it and keeping it, then administering in the form of a churna with an anubana, maybe honey or ghee as per the conditions. And we are repeating up to 21 days also. That is the easiest. A lot of types of Amalagi Rasayana is mentioned in classics. But I think this is the easiest way. Go for Amalagi Swarasa Bhavana and make it a powder. And you go for that with a suitable anubana. You continue it. And it is one of the safest rasayanas as well. It is highly effective in Amla Pitta or similar conditions with the Pitta Anubandha. And also this concludes, I already told the effect of Arjuna. It is having some sort of effect in total platelet count and lipid profile, which is so crucial in the management of coronary artery disease. So everywhere we need some evidence. That is why I have kept several articles also. And also insulin resistance. This is the much discussed terminology nowadays. This is contributing to each and every disease like neurodegenerative diseases, lifestyle diseases, where what they have concluded is that even dietary factor is a modifiable factor. So by altering the diet also, we can contribute to insulin resistance by modifiable factors such as diet, exercise, stopping or smoking, reducing stress, etc. What I wish to say is that for insulin resistance, medicines are not the number one option. We have to change our lifestyle, change our diet, reduce the stress, not go for addictive habits. With that, we can go for reducing the insulin resistance, which may contribute to the recovery of such and such lifestyle diseases. Then this is another area where one will be having introduced us what happened. There will be elevating blood glucose level and also insulin tolerance. So if you are having stress, it may affect insulin tolerance, it may add to lifestyle diseases, it may be adding to neurodegenerative conditions. So what is the option? We have to address it accordingly. That is why what I have explained previously, you have to assess it and address it. Otherwise, no need of giving such and such kabahara ushadas or legana therapies or something like that. Here which I have shown, maybe this is the PSS which we are regularly using in our OPD, where we can conclude that 0 to 13 is mild, 14 to 26 is moderate, and more than 27 severe, and more than 15 is really we have to address. This much we can ignore. We have to wait and see what is happening. But if it is this level, we have to address. So each and everyone must have this scale, so that you have to ensure that this is not a contributory factor of the lifestyle diseases. And here comes the conclusion that is why Vidanya somnifera is acting. It is working on the insulin resistance as well. How? Because it is working on that stress factor which is leading to aggravation of the insulin resistance. So what they have concluded is that this is capable of increase in glucose, insulin, and also this assessment of inflammatory marker and insulin resistance. Hemostasis model assessment for insulin resistance. This is HOMAR. So what they have concluded that this is capable of reducing the inflammation. This is also capable of improving the insulin function, that is reducing the insulin resistance. And it is also addressing the stress contributing to insulin resistance. So here in this area, ashwagandha is a very useful drug. And also you must go through the cognitive vitality.org website of the Alzheimer's Drug Discovery Foundation, where they are having a separate page for Shankapushpi. That is really promising. This is not controlled by the Ayurvedic people. They have discovered everything. Shankapushpi is having a neuroprotective benefit, aging and relating health concerns, safe, it is safe. So we must go through such website. We may be really elated with such findings, where they have given a separate page for Shankapushpi, and it is one of the most useful drugs we are using, rasayanas we are using as far as cognitive enhancement is concerned. So this is one such study where the associated tau protein induced neurotoxicity. In Alzheimer's, what is happening is that the tau protein is accumulating and it is causing some sort of neurotoxicity. So this convolvulus drug is capable of reducing the tau-induced oxidative stress. So it is working at such a level so that it may be able to restore the depleted acetylcholine emission inhibitors. Acetylcholine esterase inhibitor is much more related to the pathogenesis of Alzheimer's disease. So this is capable in two areas. It reduces the tau protein accumulation related neurotoxicity, and it also restores the depleted acetylcholine esterase inhibition. So this gives us, this was in a Drosophila model I have already explained. So we all know that Shankapushpi is enhancing cognition. It is effective in some sort of dementia. But we must know what such and such drug is causing in the brain. What all positive things which is causing. Also, I have already explained the influence of sleep is very much. If there is a sleep deprivation, you have to correct in each and every patient. Otherwise, you must not get an adequate result. And also sleep fragmentation without reduction in sleep duration. That is very important. Our patient will be telling, sir, I am sleeping for 8 hours. In between, I am getting up 3 or 4 times. So what happens? The sleep is for 8 hours, but there are certain fragmentation. So if there is fragmentation, the sleep quality will come less. If it comes less, you'll be having a chance of obesity, insulin resistance, and type 2 diabetes. And even it may be reducing the longevity of the individual. So everywhere it is there, you must correct. There you can go for rasayana, ashwagandha is there. Even jadamanji is a very useful rasayana as far as such sleep disturbances is concerned. Also we can go for Shankapushpi. So we have to correct such and such things. That is what I wish to say. This I am skipping. This is a diagram showing how sleep is causing to insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. These are several ways it is acting. This I am skipping. Then what about the daily dietary intake is causing us? It is very important finding. What we are administering, telling our patient, don't go for Shira or Grida daily. We are telling why? Because we may be thinking that it may be adding to the insulin resistance or obesity. But the findings are not entirely opposite. This is a systematic review which compiled a lot of RCTs, a lot of RCTs, 49 relevant RCTs. This is not a single case report or something like that. This is the highest level of evidence. So how they are concluding the effect of diary intake on insulin resistance. So what they are concluding is very important. Diary intake, especially low fat dietary products, that is very important. You have to go for low fat milk. As a beneficial effect on, I have already told about the assessment, also reduce the waist circumference and body weight. This is the assessment of insulin resistance. So daily diary intake is very much positive as far as insulin resistance is concerned. That is why Kshira Grida is included in Nitya Rasayana. Kshira Grida is the only thing useful in Nitya Rasayana, provided you must go for a controlled intake with a advice of a physician. That is what I wish to say here. And Arogya Vardhini is one combination which we are using as a rasayana in obesity and non-alcoholic fatty liver and similar conditions. It is a very useful yoga, and it's safe as well, which we can administer in such and such conditions. And also we are using Triphala Rasayana in diabetes, diabetic neuropathy, in non-alcoholic fatty liver and similar conditions where Vata Kapha Hara drug administration is needed. So it is a very useful rasayana. We can administer it for the churna, and it is also somewhat difficult for intake for the patient, but it is cost effective, and also efficacy is much more. We have tried in several conditions. This is one such study which has proved the protective effect against the hepatorenal toxicity. That is interesting. So if we are using in non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, this may be potent, effective in clinical practice. So this is we can use it in clinical practice, of course. And also I have highlighted the importance of Pippali Vardhamana, which we are using. One of the most useful rasayanas and one of the useful rasayanas in clinical practice, and we are using it much. And it is also effective in the earlier stages of ascites, not in when ascites is fully manifested. We cannot go for such and such things. But if we are detecting in the early stages of fluid accumulation without even tapping, we can manage such conditions with Sodhana followed by Pippali Rasayana, or even Kanmada is useful. As we all know, Kanmada is the Rasayana which is mentioned in Kumbha Kamila and Shilajatu. And also we have to compare certain conditions. 8 types of Udara is there, among which one is Kabodara. Can we compare it with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease? This is not a conclusion. This is my opinion only. Where we have to go through such and such symptoms. There is Sadhana, Gavirava, Ulkresha, Aruji, Chira, Abhivruddhi, or gradual distension of the abdomen, and fatty infiltration may be there. So this symptomatology very much resembles the non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. I am telling NAFLD because alcoholic fatty liver disease, we are having a different approach. We are going for the Madhya Chikitsa, where Pitta is having much more role in the Samprapti. Here, the role of Pitta is that Kapha Vruddhi is happening in Pitta Sthan. So Tasya Pittam Kapha Harer Jay. This is the treatment principle. So initially we have to go for Kapha Vruddhi. If any Pitta Vruddhi we are attaining with the symptoms, we have to change the combinations also. At the time we have to go for combinations such as Vasha Guluji or which are also Pitta Hara or Rekta Prasadana. So in such and such condition, what I wish to say is that Kapha Vruddhi in Pitta Sthana, initially we have to for Kapha Hara Rasayana. So in such conditions, we are using Pippali Rasayana as well as Ardhaka Vardhamana Prayoga. It is a very useful combination. I think many of you have been using, and we are using it quite effectively in depression. It is one of the most effective Rasayana as far as management of depression is concerned. It is very cost effective, and it is also a Rasayana which more Satmya. Everyone is Satmya with this Ardhaka or Nagara, we have to say. So we are using it much in such and such conditions. So this is a combination which we have studied in reducing cholesterol level in liver and cell. This is a commonly available drug. Kiradadikta, Bhokshura, Punarnava, Bringaraja, Guluchi, and Bhumi Amalagi. We have changed it into a powder, and we have administered it as Panda. and we have done it only for 15 days, and we have assessed what is happening, and we have reduced the serum cholesterol level and liver enzyme values. Everything has come down, and it was slightly significant, but it is only a pilot study. We have to go for further studies for a generalization. But what I wish to say is that such combinations are very effective in managing liver enzymes, which may be affected in the second stage of fatty liver, or if there may be alteration liver enzyme as well. In such situations, we have to go for such and such combination, which are not only Kabahara, but also Rekta Pitta Prasadana as well. That is my point from this slide. And also Ardraga Vardhamana, you have every one of your studies, Sakamala, Sosha, Mano Vigara, Kasam Kabam Jeva Jayet Prayoga. And what we are doing is that we are starting from 10 grams or 5 grams also we can do, Sama, Ardraga, Sama Buddha. And we are aggravating the dose up to 50 grams based on we are assessing the Pitta Vardhi, what is happening to the patient. If the patient is useful or not having some adverse effect also, we are administering up to 1 month Masam, Param Panjapalam Masam. It is mentioned in classics. We have to go for Shira or Yusha Asana because it may be causing some sort of burning sensation and irritation to the patient due to the Pitta Vardhi in the Koshta. If such things happen, you have to go for Virejana, stop for Rasayana for 2 to 3 days, again start Rasayana. What we are adopting. It is a very potent Rasayana in hypothyroidism, even in negative symptoms in schizophrenia. We have tried also in depression, and also in hepatomegaly, such as chronic active hepatitis, where the liver function is not so deranged. We must not go in with such and such Rasayana in acute Kamila, where we cannot go for such combination with Pitta Vardhi. At that time, we have to change the combinations. We can go for Punarnava or similar other combination. And it is the most cost-effective Rasayana. And just go through this article if possible after the presentation. It is already efficacy of ginger supplementation. We are already discussing about the Ardraga Vardhamana Prayoga. See, such study. This is a very important study explained in Hindavi journal. One of the evidence-based complementary alternative medicine is one of the top journals, where they have published a randomized double-blind placebo-controlled study with a perfect methodology. What they have concluded is that ginger supplementation is effective in relieving persistent hypothyroid symptoms in patients with controlled primary hypothyroidism. What we have discussed in the previous slide, Ardraga Vardhamana is effective in conditions including hypothyroidism. So if somebody is showing evidence, everybody believes. Otherwise, what is told in Samhita, we may be searching for evidence in literature. So this is a real motivation for practitioners. Also, one more thing I wish to highlight is that as far as working my experience in psychiatry is concerned, I don't believe that medicines are the number one weapons as far as a clinician is concerned. So what we are doing, we are addressing, I have already told, the biopsychosocial model, which is very much relevant in mental health. But now I think that it is also so crucial in the management of lifestyle disorders, where we have to address the psychological factors and even the social factors. The patient may be advised to go for Sadhurta, Ajara Rasayana or similar things. They may be adding to enhancing the lifestyle, which may be acting positively in the management of lifestyle disorders. So why I kept this slide is that efficacy of integrated yoga and Ayurveda Rasayana. This was published from a non-Ayurvedic person. That is why they have put Ayurveda Rasayana. They have given Brahmi Grida. Along with that, they have administered asana, pranayama, meditation and relaxation techniques. So what I wish to tell you is that you must not go with medicine. The patient will be coming, sir, I am overweight, my BMI is 32. I need some medicines from your part so that my weight will come down. What must be your advice? We are not having such potent weapons so that medicine 32 will come down to 25 or more. You have to administer them. You have to assess their stress. What happens? Many are having an overeating habit due to stress. So they'll be gaining weight. So where we have to address, you have to address that. In a similar manner, we have to find out the contributory factors. We have to address accordingly. Along with that, you can use some medicines. And if the patient is willing, you must go for Shodhana as well. If they are willing for Snehabana, you go for Snehabana with Tirataila. Along with that, you can go for integrated yoga, dietary therapy. You have to change the sleep habits. So such a management will only work in such and such condition. That is what I wish to say. That is why purposefully I put this slide. Medicines are not the only weapons. Medicines are now secondary or tertiary if you are managing such and such condition. If you are managing an infection, the medicine may be the primary weapon. If COVID, you may go for medicine. If post-COVID, you may go for some other therapies. So such and such yukti, that is yukti Vyavasraya Chikitsa. You have to adopt such and such yukti in planning protocols in such and such diseases, especially the lifestyle diseases. That is what I wish to highlight here. And this we all know. What I wish to highlight is that everything we are doing in our daily life is rasayana. If you are speaking the truth, if you are controlling your emotions, if you are regulating your indriyas, if you are staying calm, if you are indulging in sadvrta, if you are practicing achara rasayana, if you are having good sleep habits, without any medicine, your longevity will improve. That is what we have to highlight to the public. Otherwise, what they are thinking, they will be going to the counter, they may be going for some Chavana Prasha or Amrita Prasha. The counter person, as per his knowledge, will be prescribing medicine. They are thinking that that is rasayana, that is not rasayana. By following all these and by adopting some sort of preventive measures, the ultimate outcome of rasayana is going to happen. That we have to educate. That is the need of the practice, need of the hour, as far as we junior practitioners of Ayurvedic system is concerned. Here, one more thing I wish to highlight is that most of the factors are psychological. So stress is very important. If you are having extreme stress, your life longevity will come down. Your immunity will be compromised. You'll be having a chance of getting a lot diseases. So there also Rasayana will be working. That is why I have highlighted that Ashwagandha is addressing stress. Ashwagandha is able to improve the insulin resistance, and it is a rasayana. So it is one of the most useful rasayanas in clinical practice. Even it is having a potency in conditions such as cancer, which is also a lifestyle related disease. So I wish to highlight this point also as far as rasayana is concerned. What are our scopes? The vision regarding the diseases is changing, and COVID has bring a much more eyesight to our practitioners. We have been enlightened regarding the scope and responsibility of Ayurvedic practitioners, and we are trying. That is why we have kept the Ayurvedic message as Hardin Nargar Ayurveda. We have to bring them to the grassroots level. So our work from tomorrow must be aimed in that direction. So what I wish to highlight is that this is the post-COVID related problems. This is the diagram of post-COVID related problems, which we are waiting. We are waiting what is going to happen. But one of the respiratory experts in last day's speech is saying that a lot of lung fibrosis is going to happen in next 5 years, because one of the most complications seen in the respiratory system is lung fibrosis. In neurological system is stroke, because this is causing these toxins from the virus is causing much more rektadushti. It may act at any level. If it is causing brain, it may lead to some sort of stroke. If it is affecting the heart, it may go to some sort of coronary artery disease. So what I wish to say is that almost all systems are affected by such and such pandemics. And another pandemic may happen, but let us pray it may not happen. Still there is a chance. What I wish to say is that in such condition, what the modern medicine is expecting is that we have to go for an interdisciplinary approach. The modern people are having less techniques as far as the preventive aspect is concerned. where we are having a very potent tool, that is Rasayana. So for preventing such and such techniques or such and such conditions which are going to happen, we must go for early identification, and what we have to do, we have to propose our rasayanas. Now go through this article published in Aging, Clinical and Experimental Research. This is one of the top journals. What they are telling is that post-COVID-19 global health strategies, the need for an interdisciplinary approach. So we are having a chance, we are having an opening, and we have to utilize it. And there I think rasayanas are having a very good role to play. And this is an opening. So that is why we are planning post-COVID clinics and all. We are educating the public about the branch of Rasayana. So there is the need of interdisciplinary approach in such and such conditions. So coming to my conclusion, in brief, this is one of my favorite slogan from Charaka Samhita Siddhisthana. In the last chapter, what Acharya Charaka is educating us is that in the Samhita, I have given a lot of explanations. And the explanations are having its own potency. But what we have to see, we are saying Acharya Charaka is explaining Vilechana in Udara. So what is the role of clinician? So what is the role? What is a yukti? What is the role of yukti there? So what he is educating us is that tasmat sadhyabhi nirdeshe kurya duhyam swayam diya. Even though a lot of things are explained in classics, you have to evaluate as per your buddhi or yukti. The cognitive level we have to enhance. We have to use rasayanas as well. Being clinicians, we may be thinking of enhancing our cognition and all. We know Tarkena Ya Siddhi, Yadrishcha Siddhi. You all may have studied this sloga, but this is one of the interesting slogas, or one of my favorite slogas. If you are getting results as per what you have done in Samhita, what is prescribed in Samhita, it may be considered as Yadrishcha Siddhi or coincidental. So what I wish to say is there is no gold standard clinical protocol for any disease in Ayurveda. You may have a freedom to select a protocol. That is what I am telling. I grouped 3 hypertension patient into 3. I kept Sarpagandha as a common drug. I added Mahapanjamula with Vada symptoms such as headache. I added some burning sensation or vertigo. I added Trina Panjamula. I have concluded that it is some sort of Pitta Nibandha. If it is Kabaja such as Siro Gaurava, I have added Triphala. And 3 groups I have given Sarpagandha with additives. That is a methodology of adopting Yukti Vibhasraya, Dosha Hara Chikitsa plus Vyadhi Hara Chikitsa. So this is what I wish to highlight at this point. Rasayana is a gifted specialty in Ayurveda. It is a gifted specialty. It is a multi-speciality, not only owned by Kaya Chikitsa, Panchadharma or some other specialty. Everyone can use, everyone must use of it so that the patient must be benefited. And it is highly useful in preventive, curative and palliative aspect. In curative aspect, you all know Balladaga, Shilajadu, Tuviragati. So what about palliative also I explained. We are using an add-on effect in cancer OPD. We have tried several yogas and they have concluded it enhances the life expectancy and it is bringing much more effectiveness of the modern medicine without withdrawing. They are doing it in an add-on trial also. What about the preventive aspect? In our OPD, we are getting a lot of dementia and we are managing it with Ayurvedic therapy. So what we are advising to the patient is that you must have detected a bit earlier, 3 to 5 years earlier, so that you must have a more effect of the therapy. So what we have to do, we have to identify it at the level of mild cognitive impairment or neurocognitive disorder, as explained in DSM-5. We have to identify the condition in the earlier stages where the patient will be having slight alteration in memory, but their daily activities have not been affected. But in such a condition, they are not approaching us. So in that stage, we can think about a preventive approach. We can go for Ashwagandha, AST, Jadamanchi as per the demand from the condition. So that preventive aspect is to be highlighted and also to be educated for the community, not only for the doctors, but also, so in such and such condition, we have to go for an early screening camps. We have to identify the individuals. We have to start adequate rasayanas, and we must be conducting some sort of observation. For years, we have to follow up. For that, we can plan for some sort of department projects, and also, so educating the community that rasayana is a positive lifestyle. It is not the intake of medicine, and the real rasayana is adopting a positive lifestyle. That we have to educate the community, and must include in whatever possible clinical condition. From this day, you have to decide in all my patients from tomorrow, whoever are fit for rasayana, I'll be selecting rasayana and I'll be putting in clinical practice. Even the OP level, studies say that the practice is less and negligible. But you have to think about OP practice. You can OP practice typically. We are also practicing it in the OP level. We are doing it in 1 to 2 days. We are putting them in the IPD. And if you are feeling that is safe, the patient is safe and having no adverse effect, we are discharging them. We are giving a thorough advice regarding the dietary and diets, and it can be practiced at the OP level also. And we have to reframe the classical condition. I told no, in classic single use of rasayana is mentioned. Why don't you can go for combinations? We are using several combinations. Bela, I have already told Bela plus Sundi in diabetic neuropathy we are practicing. In Bela plus Guluchi we are practicing in some Pitta Anubandha conditions. Also Tippali plus Guluchi in Pitta Anubandha Vadashonida. And also Ashwagandha plus HT in Pitta Anubandha dementia or cognitive impairments. In a similar manner, we have to reframe the classical indication. You have to go for combinations as well. Provided you must ensure that the patient is not having adverse effect. And also, you must start documentation. From tomorrow also, you must start documentation of what you are doing. And you must go put forward into publication, as publications are the need of us. You search in internet what happens. Very less evidence-based articles are there from Ayurvedic people. And more than that, the other fraternities are having much more publications. So publications have to be in your mind. For that, you must document. In the initial stage also, you must go for an assessment. In between assessment must be there. And you must document it so that you can have some sort of publications and add to the evidence-based medicine, which is the need of the hour as far as rasayana is concerned. And let me conclude with the famous slogan from Atharva Ved, which mentions that let all of us live for at least 100 years. Pashyeda Saradam Sadam, Jeevema Saradam Sadam, your Buddhiyema Saradam Sadam. You must be with your Buddhi or cognition up to 100 years. In a similar manner, I wish each and everyone who are assembled here all the very best in future, and let all us will be having a better future. And once again, Ayurveda wishes to one and all. And I once again thank the authorities for sharing the little bit of clinical experiences I am having. And also I dedicate all the slides into my scholars. And actually I am studying from my PG scholars. And they are giving a boost as a teacher for me for the last 18 years. And really, thanks for the patience here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It was indeed a very amazing session. We are really fortunate to have you, sir, with us. And now the session is open for discussion. I request the participants to post their question in the chat box. So there is a question in the chat box.
Okay.
Good evening, sir. As you discussed earlier, there is rasayana for HIV. So my question is that, is there any rasayana which can restrict replication of HBV?
Okay. Actually, my point was different. I think if till the day that we may be able to prove that ART is having a substitute from the part of Ayurveda only, we must go for a substitute for ART. Till it is proven, we can go for some add-on studies along with ART. We may be selecting ART patients into 2 groups. We may add our Rasayana or similar drugs, and we may compare what is the add-on effect of our drug, selected drug, along with ART. Otherwise, it may not be ethical, and the medical community will not be able to approve as well. So my point is different. If we are adding such and such Rasayana along with it is a foolproof therapy, ART. Even though it was having limitation, Ayurveda is not having much to propose when compared with the efficacy of ART. So we may have to plan add-on therapies along with ART, and we may compare the difference. Otherwise, it is quite unethical as far as medical research is concerned.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Any more questions from participants? Sir, is there any Rasayana which is helpful for hepatitis B virus?
Actually, we have not tried any Rasayana therapy there. Actually, hepatitis B carriers are asymptomatic. And what we are doing is that we may be going for a Snehabana with Hrisomatra. Maybe be giving some sort of Rasayanas having action on the liver, such as Tiktaka or Mahatikta. What we are usually doing is that Hrisomatra Snehabana. First day we'll be going for a CSC Matra 25 to 30 ml. Then we may be going for 100 or 150, continuing it up to 3 days. After that, we may be performing this Virejana with Avibhati Churna or similar combinations. After that, some Arogyavardhini or Padula Kaduri in a similar manner, we are using Samana Ushada only. And till this date, I have not tried any Rasayanas in such cases. But still, the response is not as expected.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Any more questions from participants? Sir, Rasayana for Kushta.
Yeah. Actually, sir, I think we can have a section also as far as Rasayana and Kushta is concerned. We are doing it in almost all patients undergoing IPD. And if you are referring literature, especially Ashtanga Hridaya, what it seems is that Kushta Chikitsa is the chapter where maximum number of Rasayanas is explained. In a similar manner, Kasa Chikitsa is having that much Rasayanas. From there, it means that Kasa Chikitsa or Kasa is a clinical condition which is so chronic and needs much Rasayanas. After that, the 2 chapters can be highlighted. One is Udara, where we can have a lot of Rasayana Prayoga. One is Kushta. So in Kushta Chikitsa, we are having a lot of Rasayana. What we are using regularly is that we are going for Tippali, we are going for Kanmada, and we are going for this one, what I have to say, Baladaga also, especially if Raktadushti is minimal. And also one more, we are going for Tuvaraga. Then Tuvaraga is one Rasayana I wish to highlight here. In psoriasis or some other conditions after Shodhana, Vamana, Virejana or Bhut, we may be going for some Shodhana Nasya with Anudaira or similar combination, Anudaira or Shidabala, whichever applicable. After we may be going for Tuvaraga Rasayana. Tuvaraga Rasayana is one of the Rasayana which is having a potency as far as Shodhana is concerned. So we are doing it for 5 to 15 ml. We are administering it on alternate days. Patient will be having Vamana and Virejana. So we may not be able to do it in a continuous manner. Otherwise, the patient will be having some sort of gastric irritation. So it is one of the most potent Rasayanas which is having even a Shodhana property. But we are also administering, in stress, we are going for Ashwagandha. We are administering Tippali. Chitraka and similar combination, but we have to ensure that these are not contributing to Rekta. And one more thing I wish to highlight is that while going for Tuvaraka Rasayana and Kushta, one extra point we have observed is that many of the patients undergoing Rasayana therapy who were having non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, but actually they came for treatment for Kushta or psoriasis or something like that. The LFT value will come down after the administration of Tuvaraka Rasayana. So what I wish to say is that Tuvaraka Rasayana is also having some sort of effect in non-alcoholic fatty degeneration of the liver, even though such an indication, Sarva Kushtair Vimichiti, is the only indication for Tuvaraka. In a similar manner, we are performing, definitely we are administering Rasayana to each and every Kushta patient undergoing IP treatment.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Any more questions from participants? Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. I think there are no more questions. So
Okay.
shall I conclude, sir?
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. It was really very fortunate to have you here with us for an exemplarily amazing session on Rasayana, and you have really given us a path to think a lot. And on this occasion of Dhanvantri Jayanti as well as National Ayurveda Day, I once again wish you all have a happy National Ayurveda Day and as well as advance happy Diwali. Once again, thank you, sir, for sharing your valuable time with us. Thank you, participants, for joining us today. And I thank you all once again. I thank all the dignitaries and our governor who has sent his wishes through videos, all of you for making this event a grand success. And I'll be failing in my duties if I don't thank my team members of DIKSHA Academy who have been joining hands with us in making each and every event a grand success. Thank you all. And I wish you all have a great evening ahead. Thank you all and good night. Good night, sir.